Hey there, fools, and welcome to another Juices Loose podcast. This is number 193. Oh, we need to get a life. This week was basically a struggle to try to come up with things to talk about, but Mrs. T came to the rescue with some ideas. So that's why I'm hosting, because our regular host is slacking. The Kraken is lacking, you might say. But anyway, before we get into the topics, one of our esteemed panelists here has played the almighty God of War, and he wants to give his thoughts. So go ahead, clocked it. Let us know what you think.
You drop me in like that.
Exposed into the fire.
Yeah, so I've been playing it as hard as I can. I've had quite a busy weekend, so I did play about 3 hours just before we come on here. So I mean, graphically, it's a beautiful game, absolutely stunning. One thing I do like is the feel of the world. It's much better than sorry Juice. It's much better than how Tomb Raider feels. Everything feels just more organic and connects nicely. But I was going to do a video very soon. I might do it tomorrow. But I've always had this beef with AAA titles. Yeah, these AAA titles who scream and shout from the rafters that they're at the cutting edge, man. We're right there on the tip of technology, man. Look at how a game is so shiny and beautiful. Buy me, it's lovely. and when I heard all this, I'm like, okay, fine. Let's see what you can do. Let's see what you can do. And I'm not gonna chew God of War out completely, because we've already had that podcast.
Yeah, we don't need another salt cast.
Yeah, we've already had that podcast. But I'm seeing a lot of things that aren't quite as AAA as I thought this amazing graphical powerhouse was going to be. Especially from a sound design as well. It's this typical stuff like when you're walking through some puddles and there's no water sound. You go through tall grass, it doesn't move, or there's the sound of the way you're walking doesn't change. When you throw your axe at certain things, you get your typical puzzles. Something's dangling down from a piece of rope. I had this with Tomb Raider. Something dangling down from a piece of rope. You think, oh, let me cut the rope with my axe to make this fall. The axe just passes straight through the rope. So you have to shoot the little lock thing that they want you to shoot, right? So, there's still a lot of stuff like this, which I only give AAA developers, like I said, who shout from the rafters, this grief. Because, we've been here before. We've had games that have done this before. And if you're going to scream and shout from the rafters, you're at the peak of technology. And I want to see it. So God of War does a lot of things great. It also misses out a lot of things. Is it 10 out of 10 for me so far? Nope, it's around about 8 at the moment. Has it had a great opening, like everyone's talking about, with this one boss? I won't give any spoilers away, but everyone screamed and shouted that this one boss was absolutely amazing. And it is a really good boss fight. But from a God of War first boss point of view, and like I said, I've played all the major God of War games. It's definitely the weakest in terms of initial first boss, in terms of wow factor. So there's some great moments. I'm enjoying it. It's blowing me away? It's not blowing me away, but it's a good game. And I think I'll leave it there for now, because like I said, it's everyone. I still got obviously quite a way to go. There's been some wonderful moments in terms of size when certain things appear. It does have that epic scale to it. But in terms of previous God of Wars, it's definitely, this might sound weird, but it's definitely tamer in terms of pacing and action pieces so far. Absolutely. But
I got a question.
Yeah,
have you felt the Metroid influence? That I watched Jeremy Johns' review, and he was describing very Metroid type stuff, and I was just wondering if you've got.
I got issues with that when people compare Metroid, and I think this is something we could probably talk about another time. When we do mean, when people talk Metroid, one of the biggest things people talk about is what's it called? Backtracking, right? And when you do backtracking in Metroid titles, you're generally not going back just for the fun of it. Normally, when you're going backwards, it's to move forwards. And when you're going back to move forwards, you're collecting things along the way that you couldn't get before because you were moving forwards at one point. Yeah, you collected an item, and then you had to move back through a level, back through an area, in order to start moving forwards again to get to the next area. Now, when people say this is like Metroid, it's not like Metroid Prime, not at all. It feels as organic as Metroid Prime in terms of the areas that you're moving through. But even then, with Metroid Prime, the ease and the organicness of being able to just traverse seamlessly forwards and backwards without needing to teleport, to fast travel, because you didn't have to do that once in Metroid Prime. There was no fast traveling. You could the world was so connected, you could move back and forth quite effortlessly. Games like Rise of the Tomb Raider, or the original Tomb Raider reboot as well, and God of War, you can move backwards and forwards, but nowhere near as seamlessly as Metroid titles. So the backtracking is just you essentially having to teleport back to previous areas because there's no real way to do that seamlessly. If you just want to go back.
Is there like a central hub that you kind of end up back in, or not?
There is a central hub in this game. From what I could tell so far, there's a massive lake, and in this massive lake, you'll traverse through different gates to get to different areas. So I've just started doing this. But like I said, even then, when you go to these different areas, they're almost like separate zones that you don't feel like you'd be able to run back to. That you don't feel like you'd be able to run back to the start, get back to the area. Whether you cannot, I'm not quite sure yet. I haven't tested it out. But even so, I wouldn't make that effort to do that because these levels are so big. They're so big, they do feel like separate little stages all of themselves. Like I said, it's not like Super Metroid or Metroid Fusion or Metroid Prime where you feel like you're on a space station and you will move through certain places. Or when you're on Metroid Prime, you'll start in the Talon overworld and then make your way through and get to Magmore Caverns, which will then connect you to Fendrana Drifts, and you can move through these things seamlessly. I don't feel like God of War has that, so I'm not seeing any real heavy Metroid influence at the moment. It feels there's RPG elements in terms of weapons that feels more like Darksiders in terms of where you just find the equipment through multiple chests, and there are a lot of chests in these games and a lot of items that you won't use. So they throw all this stuff in there, and sometimes I don't like items that just sit around. That have a little bit of benefits, but your other item is just slightly better, so you never end up changing it. So like I said, there's a lot of things like this, but overall, as a game, it's a very, very solid title. Certainly not the worst God of War, by far. It's a very solid title. It's definitely worth a play. But I certainly will have a lot to talk about it, and it's not 10 out of 10 for me yet. Whether the story sucks me in more or not, which is okay at the moment. But at the moment, it's definitely around about an 8 out of 10, and we'll see where it goes from there as I progress through the game. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Well, obviously, since you're not worshiping at the altar of God of War, you're clearly a fanboy.
Salty ass and 10 facts.
Because there were obviously what do you call them, reviewers that gave it lower scores, and I'm sure they've been getting death threats and all kinds of nonsense.
That reminds me of, was it GameSpot? I think it was GameSpot. They gave Uncharted 4 like a 9 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
You should have seen the comments. Oh my God, people were mad. Like, get this person fired, blah blah blah, bullshit. Like, Seriously, a 9 out of 10 is a pretty damn good
That's
score.
a great score. It's literally great.
I mean, an 8 out of 10 is a great score. It's just,
right.
It just means there's a few nickels, right?
If Metroid Prime 4 got a 9 out of 10, I'd be like, awesome. You know, that'd be
that's great.
I'd be excited, but
I don't know. It's weird. These people are weird. Anyway, good, cool. Anybody else have anything you want to say? Like, I know Robert, you said something beforehand about your, you've been playing it recently, so.
I mean, yeah, like I played some more of it, and I'm still enjoying what I'm playing, but at the same time, like I was telling them early that I know people are gonna be like, dude, you're just hated, but it's like I feel like I'm playing it to get through it, so I could get to South Park. Like honestly, because like I'm very excited to play the Fractured But Whole, but the thing is, I want to finish God of War first, and the thing is like. I'm not enjoying God of War as much as these other people are, and like I still think it's a great game. Don't get me wrong, it's still really good, but like it's not that. Oh my god, that it's like.
Well, maybe you should mix in a different game and go back and forth, just so it's like, so you're mixing it up, so you're not just playing.
It's a strange kind of pressure, that isn't it? When you have that you feel like you have that need to complete a game that you've bought, or to try and complete it because everyone else has done it and raves about it. It's a strange feeling, and I kind of felt that pressure to get God of War now while everyone's talking about it. You know, I could have actually happily waited until it went down to about £30 or $40 for you guys and stuff. But you know, I have to admit I felt that pressure as well because. Like I said, I've played the other God of Wars, and then for someone to say that this game is literally on the next level, I'm like, well, holy crap! You know, I see that I got my own YouTube channel, and I'm on Twitter all the time, and everyone's talking about it. I feel like I need to get this game now, and even though I'm playing it now, and I'm trying to push my way through it to concentrate on this game only, even I feel like taking a break and wanting to jump on a few different games because I struggle sometimes with. Concentrated on a single title if it's not completely gripping me.
Yeah, like, is it wrong that like I'm watching this, right? But then at the same time, I'm like, man, there's some lucky motherfuckers out there playing Donkey Kong for the first time.
That is true.
It's like, man, I actually rather the first time you played that.
Bring up the same thing with The Last of Us. Like, I enjoyed the gameplay and stuff, but that story is not like a happy tale. Like, there's a lot of like you finish that game, you're not like feeling joyful. Like the way it concludes and stuff. So I don't know if God of War's taking that angle, but you know,
I said that about Bloodborne. Now, Bloodborne is a fantastic game, but you know, I never had fun playing it. It's a stressful ass game. You know, it's stressful. It got a great atmosphere, so it's scary. It's tense. You hate dying because of the loading, and then you have to run all the way back through. It got elements where you're just literally not having fun, and I questioned, why am I playing this?
Well, I did a review. Did what was it? Affordable Space Adventure. Like someone, I think it was OJ, was like, "Wait, you gave it like I forget what I gave it, 7 or 8, but you didn't have fun." I'm like, "Well, I liked the gamepad specific things and the puzzle elements, but it's stressful. It's hard. I mean, I can't exactly say it was fun and I want to play it again, but I did appreciate everything they did using the gamepad and all that. Like, it was a cool idea. It's just I can't say it was fun. It was like a movie. Like 127 hours is a awesome movie, but you don't want to rush out and watch it a second, third, fourth time. You know, like
intense.
It's just it's almost too much. I've watched it a second time now, but I waited like 3 years in between. And
it's a different type of experience, you know. It doesn't mean that it's bad. Those experiences can exist. We love horror games and stuff, you know. We love those types of games, but they certainly make you feel a different way when you're playing them, you know. So,
since we're sharing stressful experiences in gaming, I recently beat Rhyme on Switch, and it's not a stressful game. Yeah, there's some puzzles that you know kind of annoy you. Mostly based on because that game could be dark. Like I don't mean like dark as in tone, but dark as in areas, and sometimes it's like hard to see where you're going. But it definitely ends on a super somber note. But I still love the game, so I get like where the story it can be like a sad tale or whatever, but the game is still great. So, what about you, Retro Death? Retro Death just joined us, by the way, and he was the one having mic issues, not me. Chat, just so you know.
Savage. Gonna put this man out on the stick and fry him. How could you?
But yeah, you have anything you want to add to it, Retro?
We're still talking about God of War.
Well, not God of War, but I don't. Have you played it or no?
No.
No, you haven't played it yet. We were just kind of talking about like games that we thought were good, but like had like stressful elements to them. You wanted to add in on that? I just wanted to drop you in there because you just popped in. I haven't said anything yet.
Like,
So.
When I know you put me on the spot like that.
That was the point.
That's very stressful.
All right, see out here exposing.
Basically a good game, but maybe it's something you're not like rushed to play again or
Yeah.
Well, I got
Right.
one. I can't think of one on the top of my head. The Xenoblade Chronicles X, because it was a good game and it has a great story and it looks good. But like I said, I hated the battle system in that game, which I thought was terrible. So despite that, I still wanted to keep playing it because it's still good. But it didn't have the refined and good battle system that Xenoblade 2 had, for example, for me.
Why are you always going to hate on that game, man?
I know the battle system's so
much aggression towards Retro and his controversial opinions.
But since you're bringing up Xenoblade Chronicles X, I come to the realization that Xenoblade Chronicles X is almost a full tier ahead of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 for me. Like, now that I've thought about it.
Wait. No, we're not. No, wait. Let's.
Do we really want to start this?
I don't want to. No, we're not going to get into this. But I do want to mention my
like if X or 2 was like a 8.5, X is like a 9.5, so it's like 1 point higher.
Okay, listen. I want to get to my stressful game first.
Yeah, let's
before I have to address you separately in the phone. But right now, real quick, I guess because I think when Robert started mentioning that stuff about God of War, I think the game I immediately came to, and a lot of people who've been at least watching my streams or just know me for a while knows that Persona 5 has pretty much been that game for me. Where I don't hate the game, I'm so fucking done with it mentally. Like, there are elements of Persona 5 I enjoy. I don't even, and I think Persona 5 does certain things really well. But I just want the fucking game to end at this point. Like, I'm 100 hours in, and people are like, "Oh yeah, you got like 30 more hours." I'm like, oh my goodness!
I got that game sitting on my shelf. That's in my to-do list.
Yeah, okay. You need to set aside like a few months for yourself.
God damn!
Especially because you are a parent, so you definitely gonna need some months.
Yeah,
I've been playing this game for over a year, and you
can't play it lying down. So I mean, that really.
Well, I'll be honest with you. If this game had a Switch version, I'm almost half tempted to rebuy it on Switch and just play through the game.
I said that. I kind of hoped it will, and I think I mentioned it before, like another video or something else. I was like, that part of me is hoping that Persona 5 comes to the Switch.
I know why, because then you don't have to play the PS4 version. I would. If it came to Switch, I would not suggest the PS4 version. Not because it's bad or it runs bad or anything, but because it's such a daunting ass game. It doesn't make any fucking sense. That's part of the reason why my Xenoblade 2 addiction has been so strong, because it's so convenient to grab and play. But we're not going to turn this into a Switch dick sucking situation, all right?
And I thought of
to be fair, that is what it was going towards. We're not going to keep it in that direction.
I thought of a more current game that kind of fit into that. Well, actually, a couple of them. One was Guacamelee, which I really liked that game.
Yeah.
But combat, it got so difficult with some of those enemies and how they countered and shit. And then, like, I don't ever want to play that game again. But man, I really, I wish the sequel was coming to Switch. I would more than likely I would buy it, like maybe not day one, but pretty soon. And I was like, it's one of those games where I wasn't excited to like go back and play it, but I do think it's a great game. Like Axiom Verge is another one where it's a great game, but I'm not like just chomping on the bit to start it over again. That one's gonna be a few years from now, for me. So
I just wanted to add one more thing about Rhyme. That was kind of what I really wanted to talk about, was the fact that about a third of the way through the game, I realized what was going on and what's up with my character and where it was going. And so I was basically like, oh no, I know how this is going to end now. And I'm getting closer to the end. And that's what was stressful about it. It was like, oh, I don't want to see this happen. I know what's happening now. So that was tough.
Do you mean when you know a game is coming to an end, but you don't want it to?
Yeah, and something specifically about the story, I kind of figured it out, like I said, about a third of the way through. Or not a third, sorry. 2/3 of the way through.
Yeah. I felt that on both Xenoblade Chronicles. Well, on all the Xenoblade Chronicles, actually, you kind of know when you're reaching that last point, and you try and hold it off by just doing some extra stuff, but then you know the end is calling you. And with me, if I complete it, then the chances of me going back drop massively. So I try to do as much as I can before I do that final bit, before I step over that line.
And I just thought
of actually. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm trying to remember what
I just wanted to say that's actually a pretty recent game that I thought that was pretty good, but the way too much shit was too bad at it. I feel, but I want to keep playing it, and that's Kirby Star Allies, where I feel that it looks incredible, and they have so many awesome gameplay mechanics in it. But there's way too much from all the Kirby games lacking, like length of first of all, this game is like so short. It's almost borderline theft, the price of this game with how long it is, and just the fact that you don't have the old school secrets. Like the thing is, when you take Tropical Freeze, so many people, even some of you guys, say is one of the greatest platformers there is, and for good reason. I can understand why people think this, because Tropical Freeze evolved with the players. When you take the original Donkey Kongs, and now like it became better, more beautiful, but it became harder, and it's actually like meant for gamers, if you want to put it like that. And I feel like Kirby, it's missing the mark and is not trying to get better at what it used to be doing great. And so I feel Kirby definitely fits in this category for me.
Yeah, and apparently the post game stuff, there's some challenge mode and it's like someone said like that's really where the game begins for them, and I forget who said that or what review it was, but it sounded like there's quite a bit to do after you beat the game the first time, and it does get more challenging. And I can say Planet Robobot got quite a bit more challenging in the like the final world after what you thought was the final world, and I was like, damn, this actually got kind of hard. So. And the final boss was actually pretty good, so maybe there's a chance. Should keep playing it, but
yeah. But the thing is, if you get there just by walking right and hitting the button with your team doing half the work, it is borderline.
Yeah, I think that kind of getting
there. Like
it kind of looked like
because at least Mario, like I have problems with Mario Odyssey, but at least the whole game is fun and it's incredible and it's an experience. And then you get the post-game content which blows it away. But if Mario Odyssey was a shit all throughout, and then you get some cool post-game content, then yeah, it doesn't work like that for me.
Yeah, some games you really want to start over again or do more stuff, and others it's like finally it's done. I can move on.
Yeah. Great.
All right, cool. Well, has anything else to add to that? Let's move on to our topics. The first one is I lost it, and I'm kind of scrolling. Oh yeah. Basically, this is May, which is like pretty much Switch Wii U port month. So I don't know exactly all the games coming out. I was gonna ask.
There's a few. I can go.
Well, I was gonna ask Juice, because he famously left a quote, left a a comment on a certain video about the ports, and so I wonder if you can remember the games mentioned in that video or not.
Oh yeah, the 10 games. The 10 new games coming.
Yeah, the 10 new games coming.
It was Tropical Freeze, first one. Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, Mega Man Legacy 1 and 2 collection, Street Fighter collection, Runner 3. What was that newly announced indie game? Starts with a Y.
That's
Yonder.
Oh, Yonder.
Yonder.
And then there's like a first person, like I don't know, another indie game. It's a first person perspective, but it's almost
Immortal
like
Ragnarok?
he described it as almost.
It's like a rogue-like game.
Yeah,
right?
like where it's the world's different every time you play it, type of
I
thing.
forgot what it's called, though.
God, what's that called? I've seen the video.
The Fall?
It's a game none of us are
No,
gonna
it's not
get.
the fall. It's not the fall.
Let me go to that.
I'm
Yeah,
looking on the eShop because I'm not sure.
Let me go to that video. Yeah, and then feels like forgetting one of the
Little Nightmares comes out.
Little Nightmares. Yep.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Which I'm actually thinking about getting that one. So
Yeah, I bought that on Steam and I started playing it, but you know what happens, man? You get that Switch fever. You can't be sitting at your monitor playing games anymore.
Whoa. That's only $30, so that's pretty good.
I know for me this month is going to be pretty tough. Obviously, I made my video about Donkey Kong Tropical Sleaze. And,
Come on, that game a hoe. That game is a hoe.
but then you have the indie stuff, which looks good.
there's that Rage, Streets of Rage.
Yeah, that game is a definitely buy.
Oh yeah, Raging Justice.
Raging Justice, yeah. You say Justice League?
No, I said Raging Justice.
Oh, I thought you said Raging Justice League. Yeah, and the thing about that is, okay, I'm definitely not buying pretty much any of the ports. I'm looking to pick
all
up
the games, though, man.
Well,
one of them that everyone forgets that one of the best games probably this year is coming out this month. Runner 3.
Yeah, Runner 3. I was gonna say, well, that's a new game.
Well,
I'm
that
definitely
technically
buying
is
that.
like a console exclusive.
Dude, but I
Yeah.
can't wait.
And
for
that's
Runner 3.
like what I made my comment was like, by my count, there's one new game. That's literally the only game that this will be the first time anyone gets to play it anywhere, you know?
Yeah.
So that's, to me, is truly a new game.
And then for me, like on the indie side, is like it's always hard for me to buy indies, even if they are good, because no physical copy. I need a physical copy, and then I end up buying it, and then they announce a physical copy later. I'm like, God,
Yeah.
you know, it's just like so I end up double dipping.
Yonder isn't a physical copy, right?
I don't think so.
I think we're getting it later though.
I pre-ordered a
But
physical
yeah, I think
copy
they
on
actually
Amazon
announced.
for that.
Oh, sorry, Retro. Sorry, what do you say?
No, I was just gonna say, like, because I think the game comes out this month, and the pre-order I had for the physical copy is coming out next month.
Right. So they actually did announce that they're having a physical copy come out next month. So I'm gonna wait for that.
It's $30.
Yeah,
It's so
it's 30 and
good.
then 20 on
It's
the
such a
eShop.
good
Right?
game. It looks so
And I will just say that Runner 3 is physical, people. You know, that's
Yeah,
pretty
Runner 3 is physical, which is awesome. So that's gonna make it an easy purchase.
And then I wonder if this Yonder footage is truly running on the Switch, because I mean, it looks really nice,
really slick, right?
really
It's like
clean.
Are you still doubting the power of the Switch?
Yes, yes, he is.
Because like this,
He's a non-believer.
didn't this announcement come out of nowhere, or just the release date?
Well, the game's already coming out, so I would think they would be using Switch footage. You know, the game's coming out.
Well,
on the
okay.
8th?
Like a
And
week
the
or so,
physical
right?
edition in June as well, I think.
My
Yeah, well,
question was, did they announce the game previously and now we just got the date, or was this the first time we knew it was coming to Switch?
No, it was announced. Now we got the date.
Yeah, as far as I know, this is it was announced and then we got a date. Yeah.
I think it was one of either in the first time we saw the Switch or the second time, like rather early, like a couple of months after it originally came out on PS4 and Steam. You got the announcement already.
Yeah. So Yonder is going to be a pickup for me. I'm waiting on the physical for that, and then Runner 3. And I mean, there's at least 2 indie games I want, but I'm just kind of holding out for indies for now, just to see if they get a physical
Which ones are
copy.
you looking forward to?
What was the list again? I don't remember. I know I should have wrote this down.
Well, there was the Rage.
Gotta-
I keep forgetting the Rage one. What
Yeah, Raging Justice.
Raging Justice.
I'm not gonna wait on that. I'm just gonna go ahead and buy it.
I can go through it from what I see. Let's see: Super Chariot, Suicide Guy, The Fall, Garage, 3/4 Home Extended Edition. That doesn't seem right. Hyper Sentinel, Inksplosion, Wizards and Legend, Wizard of Legend, The Adventures of the Elena Temple, Battle Chasers, Split Critters.
That's a definite buy for me, by
Oh,
the way.
yeah, Battle
Chasers.
Chasers.
I'm double
Battle
down on
Chasers
that.
is
Battle
physical.
Chasers. I just want to see more Switch footage to make sure the game doesn't run like ass. That's what
Right.
I'm concerned
That's
about.
what I'm gonna want to make sure that's.
And then the last ones I see is Invisiballs. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. played
The way you said that was hilarious.
Frame Collection and Zenbound, Dungeon Rushers, Yoku's Island Express, Die for Valhalla, Legend of K for some fucking
Is
reason.
there
Legend of K?
that was Legend of Kane.
Wait, isn't that cat-like creature?
Yeah,
It came out like for.
It will not leave it alone.
Then they came back, and then it came back again.
Yeah, it was so weird. It
They
came out on
won't kill
Wii
it.
U and
It needs to
PS4.
die, but they won't kill it.
What's is there a game Immortal something? Immortal Redneck?
Immortal Redneck.
Yeah,
Immortal
that's the
Redneck.
one-
Oh yeah.
That's the one that's that first person.
That's the one that people were comparing it to Doom for some reason.
Yeah. Well, it looks like a
The
cartoony.
same way. What was that cat on the original Xbox? Blink or Brink? Fucking trash.
Oh, what? Oh, T, what is it?
What's that?
The cat on Xbox, that IP. What is
It's
it?
Brink, isn't it? Brink.
Oh,
or
Blink.
Blink's the Time Sweeper.
There we go,
Yeah.
Blink.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I remember how much they bigged up that game back in the
Blink's
day.
was the no, it wasn't like that.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
It looked really good. It was a
Why you mean?
very
Why
good
you so
looking
mean to
game.
that cat, dog? I don't understand what the problem is.
Yeah, but it wasn't that good of a game.
Well, yeah, that's all the major releases for May anyway. Indies anyway.
Yeah, so that's I could pretty much get my take on it. Anybody, or other than like Hyrule Warriors, I do want to get Hyrule Warriors. I don't think I'm gonna get it at 60 though, but I do want to get that. That's the only port I see worth.
I'm gonna throw out the one anime game that comes
What's
out. Actually, I think it comes out Thursday. That I'm highly debating because I see Naruto is hanging in the bestsellers right now. I'm a little surprised, to be honest with you, which is cool and all. The one I give a fuck about is the One Piece game that's coming out this Thursday, Fire Warriors 3. For those who know me, and for those of you who don't, I love One Piece to death. That's like my favorite anime series. I'm very tempted on that one. I think is honestly, as far as this month is concerned, I have Street Fighter. I guess you get the Shantae Ultimate Edition that comes out tomorrow. But Street Fighter, One Piece, Battle Chasers, maybe Mega Man. It depends on how I'm feeling. But I'm not fucking with either of the Nintendo ports, the Nintendo only ports. I don't give a fuck about buying Donkey Kong again, and I don't give a fuck about playing Hyrule Warriors because I still have my Fire Emblem. So that's just my thought.
That the One Piece game, is that the Warriors game or
Yeah, that's the Warriors
Red
game.
Cruise? Okay, yeah.
It's the Warriors game that it has all the DLC from the previous versions.
Yeah, if they release that physical, I kind of want it too.
No, because you're
But-
probably thinking of
but-
Unlimited World.
Not because I'm such a One Piece fan, but more because I'm a Warriors fan, and I do like One Piece. I've never really watched it completely because, goddamn, I can't go through like 1,000 episodes now.
Listen, I hate when people say that shit. We're not gonna get too much into it. Just you pace yourself. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah, some of the character design that show really bothers me, but I just like Warriors games, and One Piece has some cool special move attack shit for those types of games. So I'm looking forward to playing it as a Warriors game.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, and I'm thinking I'm gonna continue playing my favorite old game on the Switch, Rocket League, to keep me busy. I gotta say though, it is cool watching people play like Tropical Freeze, like hearing it was Dashy Games. He did a 30-minute gameplay, playing the second world, beat the boss, and like hearing the music and just watching somebody else play it, because I never really watched too much of other people playing it because I was too busy playing it when it came out. Mm-hmm. And I do wish the price was cheaper, obviously, but seeing other people kind of enjoy this game kind of for the first time, or being gotten new light, it is cool watching other people play it. But I'm actually just continuing my second playthrough on the Wii U. Like I started that when they announced the Switch version. Like that week, I went down, turned my Wii U on, and started my second playthrough. And I'm up to, I'm only on World 3, but man, that shit is getting hard already. I had forgotten because I have to find all the puzzle pieces and get the Kong letters before I can move on to another level. So it's way harder than I remember. And what's even harder than Tropical Freeze is fucking Donkey Kong Country Returns, which I played. I started in World 1, and by the third level, I'm dying left and right trying to get the damn puzzle pieces and stuff. Like, I remember getting frustrated with that game back when it first came out, and I set it down for a while. And so my plan for old games, instead of rebuying them and buying old games on the Switch, I'm just going to replay some old games I already have. And I'm almost thinking of starting like Super Mario Galaxy 1 or 2 over again, just because I haven't played either of them in a long time. So that's going to be my plan for old games, is to play the ones I already have. Thanks to my Wii U's backwards compatibility, I can play my whole Wii library. Just got to get some batteries for my Wii remote. But as far as the actual games hitting the Switch, Runner 3, even though I never played the other ones, I'm looking forward to trying that out. And then I don't know, Street Fighter, maybe, because I know Clocked loves Street Fighter, and I wouldn't mind, whooping his ass a few times here and there. But
fool, man. Crazy.
Hey, man, listen, I'm going to get in that ass anyway. So
yeah, I've actually, the only Street Fighter I got 100% into was Street Fighter 2 Turbo on the Super NES, and I haven't hardly touched one since. So I'm definitely not that good. So I was just talking bullshit right there. But I think if the whole game,
time for us to train, we need to train and get good at our skills.
If the whole game's on the game card, that's definitely
that's what I am. I'm still waiting. We haven't heard
the box art doesn't show anything at this point, so I'm thinking it will be. And
okay.
The only problem I have is my Pro Controller's D-pad isn't the most. It has a tendency to misregister the direction. That's, if I press to the left, it might go up, it might go down. So it's.
How did you already mess that controller up? Is a better question.
You can make an excuse by you died on Tropical Freeze. That's all.
Oh, so that's just the default issue with it. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Did we talk about game spots, retroactive?
Shit.
Retroactive.
I don't think we brought that up at all yet.
No, we didn't.
Go ahead, do it.
Shout outs to Laker Link for that idea, because I totally forgot.
And I posted a tweet on Twitter. I thought, obviously on Twitter, but I thought it was gonna like blow up, and I only got like maybe 9 likes or something and a few comments because I posted the 2 screenshots of the good and the good and the bad. And the Switch version had nothing in the bad field, got a 9, and the Wii U version had more in the bad, and it got a 6. And it's like people are like, well, it's a different reviewer. Well, my point was, when the person who reviews the game states factually wrong stuff about in the bad, then it's like, all right, they should have stepped in and said, you know what? Something's not right here, because the rest at the end of the year they had it in their top Wii U games list, and it was like number 3, because there was a lot of great games came out that year. It was
because that was 2014.
Smash and Mario Kart 8 and Bayonetta. So maybe it was but they actually had to try to damage control the review and justify why Tropical Freeze was actually in their nominations for best Wii U game, even though it got a 6. And they're like, well, that was one person's opinion. And, the rest of us loved it, and one person would have gave it a 10, and so it's just like
one person's opinion represents the entire website.
Yeah, that was the point I was trying to make.
Because the shit is stupid anyway. Like, you have this game, and first they bash it, and now they're like, oh man, fuck, we bash it too much, So now they give it this, they overpraise it for no reason, because you're not telling me that paying more money for the same game is not a bad thing.
Yeah, that could have been in the bad right there, probably. The price, but. I think a 9's still a little too low, but it's way closer than the right score, in my opinion.
Oh, you gonna send him a death threat, Juice?
He will do that.
But it is funny. It is funny that all of a sudden, this game gets a 9 4 years later and has nothing in the bad category, but the other person says that bland level design, derivative levels. Unfair.
Clearly, it was the load time improvement and the upraise.
That changed their minds. Nintendo fanboy and the small hater in me comes up, because you were talking about Tropical Freeze earlier, how you're saying you're loving seeing people play it and stuff now and everything. But deep down inside the darkness of my heart, the hate, grows, flows through me. And,
or maybe it was the addition of Funky Kong, that made the game easier.
I kind of hate. I just gotta admit it. I kind of hate the attention Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze is getting now. Just that how it's all of a sudden now everyone's just like, yay, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze is the best thing ever, man. And then back in the day we were like, yeah, fucking, this is probably the best 2D platformer ever made. And then you get 6s out of 10s. You get everyone going, oh, gamepad is trash, and all this stuff more. And like you said, nothing has changed. So as much as lovely as it is that everyone is playing the game again now, I say again, some people are playing it, a lot of people are playing it for the first time. Like I said, I still have a little bit of hate in my heart. Like I can't seem to shift it. But what can I say? What can I say?
It's clearly because the Switch is in good graces with it. Wii U wasn't, so people feel freer. People felt freer to talk down on the Wii U games and whatnot when they came out. So,
does somebody
poor Microsoft.
Does somebody want to go on Metacritic? Because I refuse to go on that website and see what the Metacritic is for the Switch version versus
actually,
the Wii version.
while we were talking, I was looking at that just to see. It's an 86 on Switch and an 83 on Wii U or whatever.
Yeah.
So just basically GameSpot was. I mean, it's still higher though. That's very strange.
Is that funky?
Yeah, it was mostly the GameSpot review that was just like egregiously terrible. But everything else was pretty okay, I think, at the time.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm enjoying playing it, and it's like I have no reason. Like the portable aspect of it is not a selling point for me because I rarely have my Switch play it in portable these days. So, but I don't have that hate in my heart. Like I just really, I think 4 years too late. Some you guys could have enjoyed this game 4 years ago, but I still like.
Y'all making it sound like race relations.
I just feel like
we're talking about hate in my heart.
We're talking about we're talking about video games. The fuck?
And even though I hate the price, and I wanted to bring up the story of The Last of Us Remastered, if you guys remember, Sony tried to charge full price for that, but the fan outcry led them to drop it $10 before the game even came out to $50.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, and it had the DLC.
That's true.
The Ellie DLC, that was $20 on the PS3, and any map, online multiplayer map DLC all was included. But the fan outcry, they dropped at 10, and then probably one of the quickest dropping PS4 games I've seen price wise. Like that was at 20, like probably within a year,
couple months. I feel like.
But yeah, the fan outcry actually
6 months. I'd say about 6 months or so.
The fan outcry actually worked, and I feel like, isn't it weird because there was people saying that kind of stuff about Splatoon,
right?
You remember like, I'm not buying it till August. We need to let Nintendo know this is not okay, and if you buy this game, you're sending them the wrong message. Now we're saying that, but it's the people that were saying it before are now okay. Like I got a active sin, Alex. He was the one saying, we can't send this message to Nintendo. We got to wait to buy Splatoon till August, till the full game's out. Now he's the one, now that I'm saying, don't send a message to Nintendo that this is okay, charging $60 for an old game with no real content added. And he's fine with it. It's like, why is it? Why are we on opposite?
This is why gaming.
That's why.
Right. Well, this is why gaming activism makes no sense. That's why it's pointless, because a lot of it comes down to personal tastes. Anyway, and if people don't care enough about a game, they're not going to join your cause or whatever. So, or if the system is in good graces, shh, be quiet. Everybody likes it. Don't make people upset.
The PS4 went through something similar.
So
the PS4 had features it was missing. Like I think one of the things I mentioned was the fact that you couldn't hook up an external hard drive to it until like a year ago. I think it was like 2017 is when that feature was added. It was like
got it later.
Oh no, but Xbox I think had it sooner than that though.
Yeah, but it's still
Xbox got it sooner.
It was still at the launch. But the point I'm making is that because Sony was already in good graces, a lot of people didn't care about all the smaller things that were wrong with it.
Yeah, they were just like when they raised the price of the online. Nobody.
Yeah, exactly. That's the perfect example. People, that's just what you do. It's like, oh, well, if it's making money and I can brag about it, I don't give a fuck.
Right.
It's kind of this issue they have with the Wii, where people wanted to shit talk the Wii so bad, but they couldn't justify it because it was making money. Yeah. And the Wii U fucked up, and I feel like a lot of aggression from the Wii.
Oh yeah, totally. That's totally true.
It's the same thought process.
Well, finally, now we can talk shit.
Exactly.
Let me ask this question, even though there's no way to know for sure. But what if the Wii U's library and it had, let's say it got some new games, but then they just started bringing every Wii game over to it. Like, I mean, well, it's tough because like the Switch's first year, we got plenty of sequels and new games and stuff. So you gotta say, like, let's say 2014 was a great year for the Wii U, lots of new games, but all of a sudden Nintendo started bringing like, all right, Galaxy 1 HD, Galaxy 2 HD, Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, Xenoblade Chronicles HD, you know.
Well,
I don't know if people would have been as excited
that
about
would have been
that.
different because it would have been from SD to HD. So people probably would have accepted it more. And people would just been happy to have anything. Can we just have any games right now? I don't care.
That is true. I mean, that's why you can't compare.
Yeah, it's too different. I thought about that too before I made my video, actually, and I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Plus the backwards compatibility, Subliminal Mime, I forgot about that. That kind of would have, but that would have made it even more of a slap
even more
in the face.
egregious. Kind of like what PS3 did. The PS4 did the PS3 games.
That's why we were all happy when we got.
Just rebuy those bitches. That's all.
That's why we're happy when we all got Wind Waker HD, because I mean that was an older title, truly brought to HD, absolutely wonderfully. And we talked about HD remix before, where I did a video on it, and I said I don't want those bog standard just high res games anymore. I think we're getting past those now, because we're starting to get some really good quality remakes, and I say remakes, HD updates, which are remasters. We're starting to get some really quality ones. I feel like those are the way forward now, because I've bought those just box standard HD updates in the past. I've got quite a few, and I play for 5 minutes and then put them down. I don't know why I can't play them anymore, even though they're still the old games. And
I just want to announce, because Juice told me a long time ago, I forgot to say anything. I am hosting tonight, so anybody who came in after the intro or after the beginning, if you wanted to know, I'm talking the most. I usually talk the most anyway, but I'm the one bringing up topics and stuff because I'm actually hosting tonight. Juice is feeling a little sleepy, when you get older. So
I just want to lay back, play some Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
He's not gonna play games. He's playing Rocket League. I know what's up.
So that's what's going on. So you guys want to move on to the next one?
Let me get my blunt real quick. All right, we're good. Let's go.
All right. Well, I was gonna do. I feel like we did this before, though, like rating Nintendo consoles.
Oh,
Have
we did
that? Yeah, we did do that, right? All right. So,
well, I did my own. Maybe we didn't do it as a group, but I think
we did. I
don't
know,
like we did, but I'm not sure.
We can do it again.
I feel like we did like a game show kind of a thing, where it was like, all right, this week you do your number 2, you do your number 1, something like that.
I remember doing.
We did like a round table type of thing.
Yeah, we did something like that.
It feels like we did, so I don't want to retread that if we did. But because we're kind of getting long in the tooth, we always we don't have anything to talk about, and then we end up at like 9:45 still talking on it. Let's go ahead and do. Because I think it's too early for us to start talking E3. Let's go ahead and, because we were talking about Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze, I was thinking let's talk about what we think Retro could be working on and what you want them to be working on. If you don't have anything you can speculate on. So let's do that, and then we'll do questions after that. I think that'll be a good chunk of time there. So who wants to start? Retro. And you can even think about what, like, their hirings, you can base it on that stuff, because they have done some hiring out there and for specific things. So who wants to go?
Well, I'll say that I think they're working on Metroid Prime 5. No, I mean, I actually think they're working on a new IP, even though, like, in my opinion, what I would like to work on is Donkey Kong 3. I really would, to be honest, out of everything. But like, I kind of feel like, because remember, even from like years ago with like what they were hiring, it doesn't sound like a Donkey Kong thing. I mean, I feel like it's something new that we haven't seen.
Story, like,
like
for people with history or with skills at like game storyline or cinematics and stuff.
Yeah, stuff like that. That's why I think it's probably more towards a new IP that we haven't seen yet. Well, that's what new IP is, but you know.
I kind of want to say that, but then it's hard to go against Red Knight because he's so good at this kind of stuff, and he thinks they're gonna revitalize another Nintendo franchise that's been dead for a while.
Oh, that's true. Also, I guess that could work. Damn.
Star Tropics
or Golden Sun,
Mach Rider.
I think a retro Kid Icarus they could do. Like as in Retro Studios Kid Icarus, not a retro Kid Icarus.
Federation Force 2. Yeah, I was gonna say that. Somebody in the chat said that.
Fucking
I wouldn't laugh at Retro Studios doing a Federation Force 2. I wouldn't easily push that aside.
No,
you know,
just the reaction from the fans.
But I feel like even if the Retro Studio logo turned up and it showed all of the game, done the trailer, and then at the end it said Federation Force 2. I feel like after you saw the name and then you saw that trailer, you'd be like, holy fucking shit, it's Metroid, this looks fucking amazing. And then it says Federation Force 2, but you know it's coming from these guys. I'd be hyped as shit for
that. Sure.
As long as it ain't a co-op only experience, then I'll be pissed.
I don't think it will be, but I'm definitely more of a co-op person, so that'd be fine for me.
Except for when you can't get anybody to go through the game with you, except for one time Robert and I actually teamed up. It was fun when we were playing, but the rest of the time I'd play with randoms.
I can't play co-op games in 3DS with the Vaseline on the screen. I can't see.
So I'm gonna give a proper answer though. It's gonna sound like completely unoriginal, but I think they're kind of working on an epic, like action, slight RPG elements, like new IP, kind of like what Guerrilla Games did, going out of their element from a first-person shooter to, actually pretty solid game considering their pedigree was Killzone. And Retro has a little more variety. They have the Metroid series, Prime series, which is first person, and then the 2D Donkey Kong games, which felt like they've been making 2D platformers their whole lives, like as good as those games are. So I think it's definitely not going to be either of those two, either not just genres, but I think it's going to be a third person type game, and I don't know if it's going to be revolutionary or anything like Breath of the Wild, but I think they're going to really take that formula and do something awesome with it. And I just hope we hear about it at this year's E3, but I ain't gonna bet money that we're gonna find out what Retro's making, because I thought for sure last year we'd find out.
Raven Blade is coming back. Yeah, Raven Blade, let's go.
Every E3 we talking about
Project Hammer. Wasn't there like a hammer?
Project Hammer. Nintendo did those guys so wrong.
That was Nintendo. The guys who done 1080 though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't. It was
space
in space or something.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else? Because I have a somewhat
for me
response.
Like, because it's been a while. I don't even know why. At one point, I didn't even know why everybody kept saying Retro was making something, if they announced it or not. Like, the obvious guesses most people would think is like, what I always think they're overhyped. I mean, the only things they actually did was basically Donkey Kong and Metroid. I don't see it being another Metroid game, considering if they would have been working for Metroid for 10 years, we wouldn't just have gotten a logo like 2 months ago. We would have seen more. And I don't see them making another 2D Donkey Kong platform and everything. But I do feel that maybe it's just because it's in the name and everything, and what they've done before, that they are working on some old IP and just bringing it back, like what they did with Metroid Prime, what they did with Donkey Kong. And personally, I think, even though I'm not a big fan of it at all, I feel maybe they're working on the next Kid Icarus game. I think that could be a thing, like they're just handing Kid Icarus over to like a new studio again to make something even bigger, considering how much, and it's always pains me, how much of a success Uprising was. And I feel Retro could be the studio to take that to the next level. it's either that or a new IP for me, which is the main thing I would be going for.
And
I
I
think a
forgot
new
to
IP.
state that if I was in charge, I would have definitely had them working on the sequel or the third game in their tropical or their Donkey Kong Country. You know, finish the trilogy. Don't do what Rare did, and the third game was just so un-Donkey Kong like, and most people didn't think it's definitely the worst one. But I don't know if they have enough people for 2 teams or how many people worked on Tropical Freeze, but it was such a success from level design standpoint, the music, the environments, the how everything in the background and foreground is just a really awesome experience. And I honestly, I'd be so happy if that game got announced and Retro's working on it. If they announce a Donkey Kong Country game and it's not Retro, I'd be a little less excited about it, honestly. So
Well, they can. I mean, Miyamoto was, said before that he's, confident that Retro could work on 2 titles at the same time, and that Retro has also dipped their toes in other games while they've been developing their main game, like they did with Mario Kart 7 whilst they were doing Donkey Kong, I believe, and stuff like that. So, I feel like they have the capabilities. I'm not saying right now they're working on 2 games. But I do feel like now they're a strong enough team to work on a main title and have a good influence on another title from a technical point of view. That's what I feel anyway.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I'll say I'm there's God, there's only 2 games I want from that I'd really love to see from Retro Studios, and they don't really fit the bill of what we've heard of them in terms of hiring. I'm sure we heard at one point that the story, they hired the guy who done the story for Deus Ex or something like that. So you got the impression that the story for this new game is going to be a futuristic setting. So I remember at the time all minds when crazy like, oh, it's gonna be, they're doing F-Zero, or they're gonna be, they're going to be doing Star Fox and stuff. But this was a while ago, and we had Star Fox, and obviously we haven't had F-Zero. So you could, I remember saying before, if F-Zero didn't come back as a racer, would you be happy for it to come back as something else, something like a bounty hunter game? That's kind of like a Mass Effect, where you play as Captain Falcon and then you go around the galaxy to, this huge quest to do whatever, that type of RPG with those type of cinematics and everything like that. But for me, I would love 2 games from them. Either one, I would love to see at this E3, and that would be Diddy Kong Racing 2, just because they've worked on Mario Kart 7, and I'd love for Diddy Kong Racing 2 to have those characters who aren't big in the Nintendo universe, but people kind of know them, like Mallow from Push Blocks or Pushmo, and what's Box Boy, and just some of these random characters just to fill up that roster, which I feel like Diddy Kong can be and can exist as that side racer. And I feel like I would be super hyped to see Luigi's Mansion 3 from Retro Studios, because I feel like in terms of a graphical engine, how we all love our graphics, man. In terms of a graphical engine, lighting, and everything like that, I feel like they could make a pretty grand adventure with Luigi's Mansion. Not just having a mansion now, but having areas surrounding the mansion. So you go into a dark forest in order to get think like Resident Evil. You go through a dark forest in order to get to another mansion, perhaps, and then you'll go through a swamp, and just all these type of settings that you could have this whole large map with multiple mansions. And I feel like Retro could pull off a Luigi's Mansion of that size and give you enough to do. So yeah, I feel like that would be pretty tasty for me. I'm not sure about anyone else if they want Luigi's Mansion 3. Am I the only one who wants that?
I'd like
I want it.
But before we go any further, I think there's a huge thing we forgot to bring up. And I'm going to read this tweet from John Verall. I've had a wonderful time at Retro Studios. The people there are awesome, and I'll miss them dearly. But it's time for me to return to Montreal. He'll be home May 15th. So this guy was their writer and cinematic designer, parts with the company after 2 years. So just real quick, he refers to himself as award-winning writer, cinematics director, voice director, choreographer, and performer for video games. He joined Retro in 2016, and 2 years later, he's moving back to where he came from. So I kind of got the feeling that either this is bad news and they didn't see eye to eye, or they hired him, he did what he needed to do, and now he's going back to his home. So
wow, it's funny because that kind of ties into my thoughts.
So I think maybe the game is either he did what he needed to do and the game's wrapping up, or they just didn't see eye to eye and he left, and that's only going to hurt the timetable for whatever they're working on. What do you? I hope it's the first. I hope that he just did his part, that what they hired him for, and then it's nearing what he needs to do is done, and he just missed his home or something. But I hope it's not some like, hey, a big piece to their team left in the middle of this game long before it's done.
Started at 2016, so I don't know how much.
Yeah, I mean, you could
his part. You look at
character stuff,
Yeah, the cinematics and voice directing and stuff, like if that's what he was in charge of at Retro, then maybe that stuff could be done, and the game could just be bug testing and everything else.
Right.
I mean, no, he's not like he's not actually developing the game. He's not a programmer or anything like that, is he? So if he's just
he's an art supervisor. He's a like somebody who would oversee, like you said, cutscenes.
And he's a writer too.
And a writer.
Well, like I said, you could look at it. If we look at it in a good way, he's wrapped up, and this game will be announced at E3 and will be coming out later this year because they're just touching up what they need to do. Or like you said, he finished early, and for him to say, I don't reckon it's a bad thing if he's come on Twitter, and said that he's done there now and he's moving on to different projects or whatever. That doesn't give me bad vibes.
No, it kind of feels like he did what he needed to do.
Exactly. He's come out and vocally said on Twitter, right? That's it. Done on Twitter here. It doesn't sound like a bad tweet. Done on Twitter here. And
I think people would say stuff like that, like, I was at this place,
if it's bad or not,
and it fucking sucked, man. I'm gonna go somewhere else. No, I don't think they would. Like,
you're looking for new work. You want to get a recommendation. You don't want to shit on your last company. That's on the way out the door. So I mean,
but
this could be looking too far into it.
Wonderful time. People there are awesome. So he had a wonderful. I mean, you usually don't. I mean, that is pretty much what people say. If they want to leave in good graces. But
so you can't really tell from that kind of stuff.
No.
It's not necessarily a good thing. It's not necessarily bad though either. So
I'm kind of setting myself up for huge disappointment though, thinking that he did his part, and this game's going to be coming out this year, like Clocked said, announced at E3 and coming out in 2018. That would be the biggest kept secret that I could think of in gaming in a very long time.
Yeah.
I mean, Nintendo. I mean, you still got to give credit to. I feel like Nintendo above anyone else because they're probably the company who keeps the secrets the most. Even though we've had some leaks.
Cranky Kong. Hello.
In recent years, overall, they're still pretty damn good,
Well, all right. I'm gonna go in, and mine has a little bit of history lesson in it because somebody brought up Raven Blade. Was that you, Clark?
Yeah.
So it's gonna tie into that too. All right. So, obviously, when Retro was first put together by Nintendo, early GameCube, right before they were working on 4 games. It was Card Combat. It was like a Twisted Metal type of game. It was a football game.
Yeah, that's right.
Metroid Prime, and Raven Blade.
Didn't they want the football game to combat EA as well? I'm sure.
Yeah, because EA wasn't in yet. Because EA was doing what EA does when it comes to Nintendo. So they're working on all those. So you can understand why the football game got canceled because EA got off their high horses and stopped messing around and came made games for GameCube. But the card combat game and Raven Blade, obviously, were kind of two games I was looking forward to. They showed screenshots, I believe, in Nintendo Power or some magazines at some point I remember seeing. And Raven Blade got canceled, and so did the card combat game, because Nintendo wasn't satisfied with pretty much any of the games, including Metroid Prime. So they decided to have them go in and focus on Metroid Prime, basically, and get that right. And obviously they did. It was a masterpiece. And I believe this is what Nintendo was saying. I think there was some interviews or whatnot way long ago when Nintendo was basically saying they wanted Retro to be their kind of Western wing to make games that that Japanese producers can't make, less Western style games. And that was what Retro was supposed to be. But I think the failure of, that whole the production of Car Combat and Raven Blade and all that kind of made Nintendo pull the reins back a little bit. And so they focused on Metroid Prime 2 and then 3. And I think after 3, a lot of those guys were probably disgruntled. Obviously, there was an exodus from Retro. They went off and did what?
Recore.
They went off and did Recore and Halo 4. They all they kind of dipped on Nintendo, and I think that's why we ended up getting Other M from a different studio, because all the guys who made Metroid, basically Prime, were gone, and so we didn't get that. And I think Nintendo's kind of been reeling with that studio since, because we've gotten classics like Returns, Donkey Kong Country Returns, and Tropical Freeze, obviously. But I think to the Retro that we have now, or at least at that time, those games were more suited to them than that Western style kind of, Metroid Prime game. And that's why, again, when Metroid Prime 4 went into production, that's why I feel like it's been in production a while. When it went into production, especially now, because we pretty much know Retro isn't working on it, or at least they're not the main development studio. I think it went into production before they started doing all this hiring, for the most part. And if you look at the hiring they've been doing, there's a lot of former Deus Ex people, and yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
Advanced graphics type of game, Western style game hirings they've been doing. And I think they're trying to re-up that dream of what they wanted for Retro to be, like Sony Santa Monica or something, the Western hand of Nintendo. And I think that's what they've been doing, trying to shore that up. And I think if they're not doing an IP, which I believe they're doing a new IP that's Western style, kind of a science fiction, maybe shooter, maybe third person action game or something like that. I think they're doing something like that from what I've seen. If they're not doing that, they're doing what AGL said, or what he believes is that they're basically revamping old Nintendo IP and making it new again, and probably in that style. So I jokingly brought up Star Tropics. It's the only kind of, because it's like a modern Zelda game, or it's like it's set in a modern time, I should say. It's not like a modern Zelda game. It's set in a modern time, and it played like Zelda, and it's really old, NES IP. And I said Mock Rider because, again, it's kind of had that sci-fi aesthetic to it, but it would be completely different than, I'm sure, the NES Mock Rider. They might make an actual whole game out of it, a whole world, and a new character.
Just to say, Link, he's right as well. I do remember some people who worked on Uncharted.
Yeah, that's right. Uncharted. I forgot to say Uncharted. I should have said that first, because I remember. Uncharted people also went to Retro Studios, so they've been hiring, again, Western style game makers and creators there for a while. And I think the timetable, like I said, the timetable for Metroid Prime 4 and this hiring for Retro doesn't match. So that's why I think they went off, and the new Retro went off and is doing something different. And obviously, whoever is making Prime right now, people say, what was it? Bandai Namco was a belief.
That's the rumor. Yeah.
With it could be a culmination of people. It could be different studios and whatnot. doing, expertise type stuff for that. So that's my hope is it is doing because I like the Deus Ex games a lot. And I hope they are doing something like that. I hope they are trying to build that type of studio. Because, Nintendo, the more different, flavors they can bring to the table, the better.
Well, that's, we just to go back a little bit more, it's kind of what Rare weren't they? They were their Western arm in sense, we had our Perfect Darks, we had our Golden Eyes, and, they were doing various different things that you wouldn't necessarily see from Nintendo themselves. A third-person shooter where you pop the heads off ants or tribals, and and then collect their heads and stuff like that. Is
the story surrounding like what happened with Rare, why did Nintendo keep Rare? I hear it from both sides. I hear that Nintendo could have easily bought them out, and I hear that they couldn't match Microsoft's offer. So I don't know.
But you also hear that Rare got cocky themselves as well.
Yeah, they definitely got cocky themselves. They probably were like, Nintendo's definitely going to keep us. Let's make more money out of this. Type of thing. It totally could have been that too. And Nintendo, they're kind of, they're kind of like, whatever. We're Nintendo, kid.
I want to bring up another studio, another developer who get a lot of flack, I believe, but they've got some talents, man, and that's and they kind of remind me of Retro Studios, and that's Mercury Steam, the guys who revamped Castlevania,
right?
And as much as those games got flack, they were actually these were the first games these guys developed. If you were a new studio and you come up with a Castlevania reboot, the way it looked graphically, it played absolutely fine, and I completed it. It's a good game, and I bought the Castlevania.
Is that Game Boy Advance you're talking?
On a 3DS. No. This they rebooted Castlevania on the Xbox 360 and the PS3.
Okay.
Lords of Shadow.
Yeah, the Lord of Shadow games.
Yeah,
I thought they were good. I didn't think they were great. They were certainly better than.
They were great, but you could see them taking stuff from games that come before.
They were better than the N64 Castlevanias, that's for sure.
Yeah, anything better than those games.
Those were trash.
those were Konami as well. But I feel like if they can come with their own IP that does look of that kind of cinematic quality, I think Retro can go the distance. They proved it, and I do feel like they do need their break to do their own thing. And as much as a safe bet and doing a Nintendo IP might be, I do feel like they need to be given a chance.
I'm sure they just got like the old Retro. I'm sure they just got burnt out on Metroid. They came in making 4 different games. They thought that was going to be what they would do. They'd make lots of different types of games, and you want to, as a game creator, work on all types of stuff, not just one type of IP. So they just Nintendo has to be mindful going forward. I think they will, as far as keeping those guys happy and giving them a lot of stuff to do.
Is Retro even like could they even make another Metroid Prime? Because most of those people are gone, aren't they?
Most of those. That's what I'm saying. That's why I don't think. I think the Retro that they've accumulated right now could make a pretty decent Metroid Prime, but I think it's too late in the development of it right now, and I think
it's almost like when the GoldenEye team left and stuff, like that wasn't the same Rare anymore.
No, of course not. No,
it'll be. But how much of the current Retro is the one that made Tropical Freeze 4 years ago? How much turnover, how much changes there been? I know they added people, but how much? Who else? From what
I'm thinking, because Nintendo has actually said this before, that Retro they could work on 2 games at once. So I'm thinking there's like basically 2 Splinter factions, and that was how it was with Rare. There was there was guys working on Jet Force Gemini, and guys working on Banjo-Kazooie, or guys working on Perfect Dark. Those weren't always the same people. So they had enough different little factions that they could work on, a bunch of different games. And I think that's what Nintendo's trying to build up again with Retro, where they can work on, 2 and 3 games at once.
Yeah.
And that would be very cool.
There are a faction of Nintendo fans who think it's like so bad and such a ridiculous thing that we haven't heard about what Retro's working on. Like it's unforgivable that we haven't gotten an update, because they talk about, well, look at God of War. You know, we knew about that game almost 3 years ago. Like, why don't we know what Retro is making? And it's like, I could see that if I didn't expect to find out something, but for the last 3 years, I almost feel like I've been expecting it. But
that's why I think it's a new IP, because it takes 3-4 years to like make a new game like that, to make a new IP.
Well, just to throw out my quick 2 cents, because I don't have a lot of experience with retro like a lot of you guys do, so I can't. There wasn't a lot I was gonna be able to add to the conversation, but just throw my 2 cents in there. I agree that I believe it's a new IP. I just don't think it's. I think it's more of a beat 'em up game than anything. I think, at least genre wise, I think
beat 'em up. That's out of left field.
That's part of the reason why I believe it to be. That's what I believe it to be. I think Nintendo might be trying to continue the trend of messing with genres that have existed for a while but haven't really hit that same level of mass appreciation like they deserve. And I mean, if you already got them messing around with Splatoon and ARMS, I think beat 'em ups is probably one of the other genres that probably needs to have not like just kind of a shake up. And for me, that would be the most interesting, because I think they've already, I guess the current retro, I'm not going to say retro in general since retro isn't really the same. The current retro, I think, has proved themselves with a Nintendo IP, because I think Nintendo recognizes that Donkey Kong is such a quality game that it's like, okay, they can do our IPs and give it the respect it deserves and pull out an amazing product. And based on the early sales we've seen, it seems like Tropical Freeze on Switch is outselling the Wii U version in its opening few days or whatever. I think they're like, okay, we can give you a little bit of leeway, let you mess around with new IP. And we already know with Nintendo, they're the people who like innovation and gameplay. So I could totally see it being like a weird off-the-wall variation on the beat 'em up genre. That's just an idea, though.
And somebody in the chat says something I didn't watch the latest Nintendo's official podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently Sam from the Treehouse, I think she's been on all the E3 Treehouses, said that it was being ported by Retro Studios.
And
Tropical Freeze. So
that's fine. It coincides with what I'm talking about.
And I don't think that takes a lot of work, but it does. You know, if you guys remember back when they first showed the Funky Kong, I'm like, who did Nintendo trust to like make a whole new character, give them a moveset? Like, who'd they trust to do that? And finding out if it's 100% confirmed, if it's retro, like that makes sense, because who would you give that to? Like, okay, make this new character that works and plays in this game.
You wouldn't hand that off to anybody.
That they made
like stunning as well. This fur. Have you seen this fur on that character? Just crazy, man. It's absolutely incredible.
I mean, so
that Iwata influence the fur.
And I don't think that would take a huge team to port that.
No, I don't think it took a huge team, or it took a long time to do that. And like I said, I think there are Splinter Cell, pun intended, factions of retro where you could do that. You can split off and make, or you can do that port, or you can still, this retro can be working on that thing. And I think the retro that made Donkey Kong Country games and did the port or whatever, I think those guys should continue to make those type of games. Make a Wario Land next, for Switch. Make a Wario World or whatever for Switch. Make those types of games, and or splinter off and have those guys make Wave Race or something like that. Like that's something I think they could do. Wave Race or F-Zero or whatever.
Yeah, not every game needs to be a huge brand, epic game like Tropical Freeze. They use a lot of inspirations and work they had done making Returns out of leftover ideas.
Mm-hmm.
But Returns came out in 2010, I forget what month, and Tropical Freeze was done at the end of 2013. So that's, depending on when Returns released, if somebody knows, it's less than 3 years to get Tropical Freeze out. So you would think if they were working on a Donkey Kong game, the only delay would have been, okay, we're switching this from Wii U now to Switch,
right?
Maybe, but the fact that they didn't tell us was maybe because of the outcry of the last time they announced Tropical Freeze and people got mad. Maybe
they were mad.
Yeah, and that actually affected people's reaction to the game when it came out. They were just so salty about it not being Metroid or something.
So that's going back to people being salty about retro being quiet. I don't think there's any denying that they are one of the most silent studios in the world. You literally don't hear anything from them. Even on their Twitter, they'll just post some stupid chicken or something, or some ribs. Just like, what the hell are you doing? You should be
and people like look all into it, like, oh, what does that mean?
So when they do finally come out with showing their game, there's been so much tension, so much anticipation built up. I think it's only natural that sometimes, no matter what they might show, no matter how glorious it might look or be, there's always going to be many people who will be disappointed, and it's always the loud people, isn't it? Who moan about things, most vocal people who seem to be the voice for the internet, and seem to be able to put that mood across everywhere. So I mean, if retro studios do roll up now with Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, or I don't know, Donkey Kong bloody Hawaiian Twist or something, and I'm going to be happy, but I could also understand why people will be slightly deflated. And I've said about again, it's that Prime 3 again, right? No matter how great Prime 3 was, even I will admit that it starts feeling, if it wasn't for the Wiimote controls and all the fresh ideas I brought, I said before, if you just had that standard GameCube controller for Metroid Prime 3, I feel like it'd be a little feeling a little bit tired. So you do need. Sometimes it is good to at least give people an idea of what you might be working on, especially over so long. I can't think of any other walks of entertainment that might do it. Even book authors will say what they're working on next, and even that'll take them years to write a book, but they keep their fans engaged. The music industry, the album comes out, they release all the music videos, and they give you an idea of what the direction they're going in. Except with retro, it's even with movies, it's sorry, go on, T.
I think they're playing it safe, which I totally understand, because even like geniuses can botch things especially if you show something early on. Like, there was talks about Zelda Ocarina of Time back in the day, and Miyamoto wanting a first-person view for the game, and that's partially why you got first-person stuff with the arrow shooting and all that stuff in the game. Because that's what Miyamoto wanted, but Koizumi was like, nope. Like, he had to step in and be like, no, we're gonna make this third person thing work. He totally, didn't like that idea, and thank God, I think, because Ocarina of Time is way better in the perspective it's in. So it's like you don't. What if they would have showed that earlier and people would have saw that and be like, oh, I don't know if I want my Zelda first person. It would look terrible, and then they. Later on, they actually switched back to the third person. So I think they're just playing it safe. They want to make sure they got their thing down. This is what the game's going to be. They're happy with it, and then they're confident enough to show everybody. I'm fine. I can wait.
Well, here's a good point, because it's been so long. And a lot of people said that same thing about waiting for the NX reveal. People let it build up their expectations. But I want to try to pronounce this person's name. Gas Farast said, whatever retro reveals now won't be able to live up to the crazy expectations, because so much time has passed. So there is that could be true, because we've heard nothing, and I tried not to let my speculation stuff affect when a game's actually shown, but it does. No matter what you do, I mean, all it takes is one good idea from somebody like Active Gamer Life to come up with this amazing idea, and like, well, man, I hope they're doing it, and then they don't, and then your initial might be a disappointment, but once you play the game, that kind of stuff doesn't stay.
I honestly think they will live up, and nothing really lives up, but I think it'll be satisfying once we do actually see what they've been working on.
I think this is happening with Pokemon right now. It's
right.
There's HD Pokemon, so much pressure,
A lot of
expectation.
And Fire Emblem too.
Yeah, Fire Emblem too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this is this reminds me of E3 2013.
Oh boy.
Except for the first, the Wii U's launch, and the game lineup didn't do much, but they came out early in 2013, said, "Hey, we're going to show off the new 3D Mario game. We're working on the next Mario Kart game." So we knew, like,
yeah, but you didn't see that until E3.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
we knew some things, and it wasn't until E3 2013 that we saw them for the first time. So Pokemon, Fire Emblem, possibly Metroid Prime could fall into that category where we know about these games, but we haven't seen 1 second of footage. So, I don't remember that being the case since 2013, because it's either been a surprise or a game we knew was going to be at E3 because it was at last year's E3, like Xenoblade Chronicles X, or some other games like Bayonetta was at a few we knew for probably seen it at 2 E3s before it came out. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
And we didn't. No one really, other than Clock, that talked about the whole. Has it been since they've been quiet? Is there people? The fans have a right to be mad, because why not tell us something?
No, I think it's pretty cool to have sudden drop of news, though. To be honest, I think it's always cool.
I just don't see why. It's like this. Well, I guess I know we're in a new age now where we know companies by name, even like first party studios. But it just seems weird to me because they haven't announced anything. What is there to be upset about? I can understand if they announce something and you've been waiting 5 years for it. Like that's one thing. But
let me add a bit more to that as well, because it's not so much. I'm not going to be upset. It's I feel like with retro, it's I feel like for a lot of people, it's coming off what these guys have done in the past, right? You know they've done some seriously good shit. Yeah, I mean, Metroid Prime 1, is in my top 5 games, and I love the trilogy, and I think it's the best trilogy of games ever made, unless we do get a Mario Galaxy 3 or something like that. But I feel like because you know what they're capable of, you want to know what they're working on. And I feel like that's what people are itching for.
But we don't know what they're capable of. We know they're capable of Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze. We know that. But this retro, we don't know what they're capable of. And to me, that's pretty exciting.
As a new retro, then I'm completely with you on that one. This is if we were looking at it like a new team working on something fresh, that's exciting as shit. It's let's go. It's no complaints there.
Yeah, and just to clarify to Ruby in the chat, I'm saying 2013 wasn't a bad year at E3. It was just the first time I think this year's the first time since 2013 where they've announced games, but we haven't seen them, and I think we'll see them at E3. So that's why I put this year and 2013 kind of in the same, because we're fully expecting to see Fire Emblem, Pokemon. What other game haven't we seen? Smash, for the first time, and we know that they're being made, and almost guarantee. We know Smash is going to 100% be shown. So it's kind of the last time I can remember really any company doing that was 2013. So
I would say sleep on a Fire Emblem either. Fire Emblem could steal the show.
It could.
I know Smash is going to be huge, but what do you do with Fire Emblem?
Oh, we got some mic issues. Who's that?
Who is that?
Retro?
No, that's definitely deep. People trying to pin that shit on me again.
Continue. Dang it, it keeps coming up.
He's fucking around with his mic again.
I muted him, so go ahead.
Wow. Who's the host?
One game that was not spoken about and maybe not so much forgotten about, but it's not from Nintendo, is the new Shin Megami Tensei.
Oh, that's true.
Which could show up at this E3, and this is the main series, right? This is it's quite weird how Persona seems to have taken over the main series of
You mean
of
to
a
the
game.
point where people don't realize that isn't the main series?
Yeah, exactly. It's really, I don't think I've ever seen that before. It's really weird. But I mean that in itself, this games, this E3, like I said, I think it could be scary. There could be some seriously good stuff that we're going to see. And like I said, if retro turn up as well with everything that we know that's coming, my God, it's the next 6-9 months are going to be just like last year. We're all going to be crying, begging for these first few months to come back with whack ass ports so we can ignore it and save some money.
Yeah.
T, your mic working? T?
We've lost the host.
We lost the host, and in the backseat, host is driving now.
I'm gonna have to take over.
He's lying. He didn't.
I think we're gonna have to do a Patreon for a microphone for T. If anybody wants to donate, I don't know how to set that up, but
that's even worse.
I think TT has a Patreon, so
if someone can make a Patreon to make a Patreon.
You clever bastard.
That's an original idea there. That might work.
I need a Patreon to help me figure out how to make a Patreon. If you donate, I can find Google
time to research.
Yeah, you donate to me, and I can figure out how Google works, and then we'll work it from there.
Yeah,
Lord.
So T trying to figure that out. We were gonna go to questions, and a while back, Grimpachi had a good question, I thought. And do you think we'll see Red Dead on the Nintendo Switch? Whether he didn't say 2, but
yes,
no,
I say no chance in hell.
I'm saying Red Dead.
I'm not gonna say no chance in hell. I'm gonna just say no.
2019.
Just because they really like to push the envelope for what the systems can do, and if they cared, we'd have GTA 5 on the Switch. If they cared about the Switch,
You wanna know what I think we might get? It'd be kind of weird, but I'd be down 5. For it. We get a remake of Bully.
I would like to play that game.
To say Bully HD or
that'd be
something.
pretty cool.
I want that HD remaster of Bully. That's what
That would actually be pretty cool, though. I would buy that.
You walk around and give people wedges because they're pieces of shit.
Yeah, I do that.
Yo, T. We can't hear you if you're talking.
Mr. T, sir.
The hostess with the
Hostess.
Oh, so
I don't see him wearing no skirt, yo.
What about? Don't you think they'd bring GTA 5 to the Switch if they cared about the Switch?
Well, I think they are bringing.
I'd rather get San Andreas at this point.
I think we're getting GTA 5. It's just a matter of time. It's gonna happen.
I mean, because it's still like top 5 on the MPD in the 5 years later, 4.5 years later. It's like,
I think Rockstar is one of those companies that in the beginning couldn't care less about Nintendo and couldn't care less about the Switch, and now that it's working, now they might look into that shit. So if we get GTA 5, it's in like 5 years before we see that.
Yeah, they may have just now made the decision.
Can you hear me?
oh, we can hear you.
Oh, there we go. Oh, he's alive.
Yeah, I had to use my other headset.
Praise Jesus.
This one is pretty much done. If you look at it, it looks like I use like 10 rolls of tape on it. This is all taped up.
Whatever you're using now sounds really good. So
that's the one I bought that wasn't working initially, but it's working.
So what do you think? What do you think of Red Dead on the Switch, or even any Rockstar game on the Switch, other than LA Noire?
Yeah, I said bring them all, whatever you can bring.
You think there's a chance for Red Dead?
Oh, chance? I don't know if the. I mean, what is the file size for Red Dead 2? I'm sure it's huge.
That's okay. They'll still pick a card lower than that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you can squeeze it down to NBA 2K did what 25 gigs, so you know
you can still do it if you make people download.
I would think Red Dead 2 could get down in the under 30. So I mean, it wouldn't be the first game to be that big.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think it's possible. I think the game could be done. Will it? I don't know. Will Rockstar give us more than just an old port of a game? They just want to make a little extra money on because they didn't make any money on. I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they did a Red Dead 1, version, but if they did that, they're gonna bring it to all systems too. So it'd be, I don't know. I wouldn't put any money on it. I don't think LA Noire did anything to change their mind if they were. It's not like that game sold well in any system, but.
Well, that wasn't a good. I always said from the beginning that game was not a good barometer if you're trying to gauge whether or not you should support a console, because that game wasn't going to
sell like trash on the other consoles as well.
It didn't sell well initially, and it was a remaster of a game nobody wanted to begin with. So, I love the game, but I'm just saying, like, the market obviously didn't care for it. So, you can't use that game, as this game didn't do well, then we're not making anything. That wouldn't have been fair. Because you should do that for everybody. Well, the game didn't sell on any of the consoles, so nobody gets anything. We're not doing that. So
I think we just need to look back through their history, and let's be honest. As big as Rockstar is, they don't have the biggest portfolio in the world of titles that are going to set the world on fire. I think they're done with. I can't imagine like the old GTAs coming in back in HD. I think everyone's done with those now. So the only realistic option is GTA 5, and then what else you got left? Manhunt.
You got Manhunt on Wii, so that's possible. I mean, that's just it. That's it.
HD, and that's that's about it. No one wants Bully. No one wants Rockstar Table Tennis. And all this.
Well, I'd buy Bully.
Well, here's an interesting stat though. LA Noire on the Switch, according to VG charts, did 240,000 on Switch, and on Xbox One it did 150,000.
I was gonna say if it did 200K on Switch, I think that's a great number.
That's a success when you're talking about $60.
What's so done?
LA Noire did, according to VG charts, as of their numbers aren't even that
it was
up to
50
date.
though. 50, right? It wasn't 60.
That's $250,000 on the Switch.
So yeah, and then the PS4 did 0.39, so 390,000. So I mean, if it did 240,000,
that's right in line with everybody. I mean, that's.
And you're talking times $50. I mean, they don't get all that.
No, that's the
question. I mean, that's.
They probably got most of it on Switch, though. I'm guessing a lot of people probably just downloaded that game.
That's 12 million. So I mean, whatever cut they get, and the game costs way less than that to port.
Yeah, of course. Maybe not the 4K versions, but
yeah, actually done more than I thought. That's all right. Good.
I mean, you'd think GTA 5 would easily do $1 million then if LA Noire did that.
Blow past GTA 5 on the Switch, handheld GTA. We talked about it before.
They could sneeze that game out on the Switch. Like that wouldn't be too much work for them to do, and you're gonna make profit. So, I don't know.
I mean,
someone brought it up in the comment section. We were supposed to be getting a Tales game at some point on the Switch.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And that Bandai's putting out all these anime games, but we can't hear nothing about no Tales game. I don't want to know what the fuck is going on. Just saying. Then again, Bandai's been pretty good about their support, so I'm not too angry. It's just another one of those, and we're still waiting on Steve, right?
Oh, completely different. Or who does?
Oh yeah, Steve. That game ain't coming, man.
Fighter Z. Who did Fighter Z?
Oh, Bandai.
They just reconfirmed that.
Oh, do you mean Arc System Works? Is that what you mean?
Well, Bandai, whoever published it.
Oh, Bandai.
There is no Dragon Ball Fighter Z for Switch, or Fighters, whatever, however you pronounce it.
Yeah, it's not too surprising.
Yeah,
as of this date, it says so.
They're still updating the game on PS4. Like
that makes no sense.
And we're about to get, what is it, Blaze Blue Cross, the Blaze Blue Cross game. So the Blaze Blue Tag Battle, I believe is what it's called. So they're probably focusing on that first, and then we got that old Guilty Gear game we're getting.
All we're getting from Bandai Namco is lip service. That's all they didn't give us.
Well, and we're getting a bunch of low-tier anime games that have been out on other platforms.
Right. That's nothing to jizz your shorts about.
Well, we had the old rumors about Ridge Racer. That they were just rumors. But I'd see no reason not to see Tekken on there or Soul Calibur.
Just makes sense.
Are you talking about the newest ones, or are you just talking about in
I'm
general?
talking about the newest Soul Calibur. I say fine. The newest Soul Calibur, yeah, it's only just been announced. They're working on it, fine. But Tekken 7, let's get it on there. We had Tekken Tag tournament on Tekken Tag on the Wii U. So Nintendo consoles aren't shy to Tekken games, and Tekken 7. I said this before.
Tekken Tag tournament on Wii U sold 10 copies.
And the sad thing is that was a good port.
I bought 2 of them.
This is Bandai Namco now, right? It's not the Namco of the past, anymore.
Well, because they're publishing Dark Souls, right?
Are they?
Bandai.
Yes,
I believe.
Yeah, they are actually.
So we're getting Dark Souls. We're getting the Dragon Ball Xenoverse and the One Piece and the Naruto games. So, I mean, to be fair, we're getting
Justice also them.
Say what?
One's Justice. That's also them.
Yeah. The My Hero game. So it's not like Bando isn't supporting us, and we already know like the Xenoverse game is already outsold the PS4 game in Japan.
Their big games need to be announced for Switch.
That's the issue. We're not getting a $100 game.
I said this on the last podcast, though. I said, it's all right to have chicken nuggets to pop in your mouth, but we want some breast.
Everybody should be at this point. Everybody, I'm giving you to E3. At E3, I want to hear everybody talking about their big games because there is no excuse at this. There's no excuse.
Remember after last year's E3, me and Retro were on top of our soapboxes saying, "Where was the third party support?" And then you got OJ the development kits, they just got them.
They just got them yesterday.
So this year, there's no excuses.
I don't want to be talked down.
People also
bring that up again.
People also started talking about but they released it like after E3 as well. Yeah, that's so good and nice, but why the fuck didn't FIFA have my Switch logo on there? It's like it's the basic fucking shit. I want to see that shit this year.
It makes no sense. It can't be
this year. We will
point.
see that because now. Last year, you needed like some companies to drive the Switch, but now the Switch is driving everything. So now everybody's trying to like latch on, So this year you're going to see Switch logos on everything.
I hope so. If your game is coming out within a year of, let's say, E3, and you're not announcing it for Switch, Nintendo is planning to have 40 million Switch consoles out there. How much install base do you need?
I know.
You got to get companies that are going to be
more than Xbox One.
You're gonna get companies like Rockstar, for example. They're putting like Switch on Red Dead, and then it's gonna go crazy. And then Rockstar's gonna be damn. Now we might have to like start making this now. They're just putting it on there to sell their shit now.
Yeah, Laker Link mentions Darksiders. I mean, we had Darksiders 1 and 2 on the Wii U. Darksiders 3 could come. That's not even.
I think Darksiders 3 they will try it. Because they're huge Nintendo fans, and like the original Darksiders, like Darksiders 2 was like a love letter to Zelda and all that shit. Like the huge Nintendo fans, and I think that. Fuck, what was I gonna say now with that?
I lost my train of thought. Say that the Darksiders series is trash anyway, so it don't matter.
How dare you,
Rod? We live in, boys.
I hate on Darksiders. It's just that game series is just not for me. I don't like
it. As long as they can make it, they will do it. And that's what I wanted to say. They were basically when everybody was dropping the Wii U, they still stuck to their word and still give us the warm mastered edition of Darksiders 1. They still put it on the Wii U, even though Nintendo already abandoned that shit.
I mean, the Wii U was dead, and they still dropped that game. So.
I think they will try it, but the question is if they will be able to bring it in the way they want to bring it. Because even like the beta shit we've seen so far, that already looks so fucking good, and it's far from done still.
I'm just worried because they couldn't get battle chases to work. It's like I'm a little worried.
That is something that people are still getting wrong. They never had issues with battle chasers. When OJ made that video, he read that shit wrong. What they said is that Elex is something they couldn't get running. Battle chasers was already running that E3. The food they have Switch footage from last E3.
It obviously ran, but I'm saying I don't think it was running well. They pushed it back. It obviously didn't come out. Because it was supposed to come out with the other versions at the time, and they obviously pushed it back. So It could be, 1,000 reasons. Obviously, Dark Souls got pushed too. There's still no good damn reason why the game got pushed. So
yeah, I'm curious, especially because they already had it playable.
I
right.
don't think they had tried to give a reason, did they?
No,
they
they haven't
That's
really.
probably better than the bullshit some people have given us. Remember some of the lame excuses for Wii U games?
Well, with these fans, you ain't got to explain nothing. They just slurp everything you get.
I personally think Dark Souls is probably online related.
Wouldn't
Might go
surprise
push
me.
back.
Would not surprise me.
Could be.
Yeah.
That to me, that's the most likely.
Well, hell, if it didn't run well on PS4, Gunpowder saying didn't run well on PS4 Battle Chasers.
Really?
Then what do you think it was doing on Switch?
It's not like this intensive game.
No, I'm saying that's not a product of the game. That's a
Yeah,
product
that's
of
just
the
bad
studio.
development.
Right. I'm just saying that's what.
That's what I'm saying. Why can't that game run well? Darksiders 3 looked really impressive from what I've seen.
I'm talking about the competency of the development studio, not the
exactly.
game wasn't. Yeah, that's what I meant. That's why I was saying I was worried about Darksiders 3 because if they can't get that game to run well, then how can they get a more intensive game like Darksiders to run well?
It's a work in progress. That's what it is.
So, we got any more questions?
I'm scanning. I don't know.
Questions.
You could be like,
I see a lot of statements.
Yeah. Please,
He was
can we
making
get some
fun.
questions, people? Any questions?
Blade
Just
Stranger
the
looks pretty
question,
good.
dog, man. I just take some questions. I just need a little bit of question, man.
After
Before
the
I
next
used to
time,
remember,
we should have a. Wow.
I kind of killed off the question thing like a year ago, and
I
because we just kept talking so much, we never had time.
I feel like
People were not
for
prepared.
questions, we should put on Twitter or something and have it where it's just
I
all.
kind of want the live chat people to be the question askers.
All right.
But I
All
mean,
right.
People could ask questions on Twitter and not even show up for the damn
There
podcast.
you go.
So,
There you go. We got a question.
I got a question.
Okay, you
All
got
right,
a
here we
question.
go.
Is there any chance that the Switch will see Ori and the Blind Forest or the sequel or the PS4 will ever see those games, or are those tied just to Microsoft forever, you think?
I think they're kind of tied to I would think they're tied.
But then
to
again,
Microsoft.
nothing's tied to Microsoft because they'll put
That's
their shit
true.
on
That's
anything.
true.
Or is that,
Yeah.
I don't even know who owns the IP. So.
Microsoft owns the IP. I'm
Yeah, I was
pretty
saying
sure.
Microsoft has the IP.
Yeah.
But they're
It'll just die like the rest
to
of the
put on
regular
PC. Oh, it's already on PC, right? So that
It's on PC, yeah, but it's not going anywhere further than that, I don't think.
Because that is a great game, and it'd be a perfect, that would be one where the benefit of playing that anywhere and that.
Oh snap! Starting to get some Nintendo Online updates.
Oh yeah.
It's only on the Japanese site right now.
Get excited, people! Get excited!
Okay, so they did
Get excited to pay for online.
Wait. Okay, first off, the only major update right now, I think they're currently updating the page. But the first thing that we see is that they are doing cloud saves. That is a thing that is canon, that is coming.
Well,
But I think that was already.
I thought that was already kind of
I don't know if it was.
Talk
I don't
about
know. I guess because they weren't promoting it on their pages, they weren't saying to people.
That's the first I've heard of it. So
that's
good.
I'm sure I've heard of that before.
That'd be smart. There is an actual question though that I got asked in my live stream, which is,
go ahead.
what's the dumbest E3 rumor you guys can think that you've heard in the past?
The dumbest.
My answer was anytime somebody had a list of what Nintendo's digital event was going to be, like somebody would write that
It was
down,
always
or type
terrible.
that out. Those just always bug me. But you guys can think of
Kind of
anything?
like those
I know.
leaked official.
I got one. I don't know if it was dumb or not, but it's the only one that sticks out to me.
Oh wait
It
a
is
minute.
Star Fox Cross Metroid. Remember that?
That'd be a kick-ass idea to be.
No, I'm saying I'm not necessarily going to say it was dumb, but that's just one that I remember being.
Remember The Legend of Zelda Battle of the Night King or whatever it was called?
It was the worst subtitle ever made for a Zelda game.
The one I said was actually better than the original.
Slight update, just real
Okay.
quick. I'm looking at
Now you,
because it on the Japanese site just to see where it is. Apparently, that's like subscribers only. That's not like just a general system thing.
That would be. I mean, everyone's pretty much you're gonna pay if you're gonna play any of these games online.
Yeah, but it still seems kind of like a dick move that if I
Cloud
don't pay.
saves should definitely be for anyone that has a Switch.
That's
I
what I'm
would
saying.
think.
It seems like as of right now, it's only like a.
Got another one here. It's going to be launching September 2018, which we knew, but it has 20 NES games available for Nintendo Switch Online service in September, including Zelda, Super Mario Bros. 3, and more. Donkey Kong, Zelda 1, Ice Climbers, Balloon Fights, Soccer, Tennis, Dr. Mario.
So
yeah,
these
it's not
games
just...
so those you'll be able to play just with your subscription? Is that what it looks like?
Yeah, I'm looking at the website now. I can see yep, they got local multiplayer games. So like for Dr. Mario, turn your Joy-Cons to the side, you got 2-player Dr. Mario on the NES. Same for Balloon Fights. So it looks like this is how they're playing it.
That's why there's no virtual console. T. I think you kind of.
Oh, you do that, then, man.
Because
Virtual console
kind of
is
said that.
Yeah, it's on you now. So it looks like the virtual console is gone.
It's a rental,
Looks like
basically.
it's gonna be we're gonna be paid to play these games.
Like why? I guess the better question is: was there really that big? Why? What was the need for virtual console if they're doing something like this anyway?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, that's interesting. So let's do some questions. Even though T's the host, and then if maybe
really?
when we're done with that, we can catch up on the news about the online. Because there's a really good question from Ibsters. He thinks, remember that the Wave Race direct producer, whatever, he said that he gave that comment about how he'd like to bring Wave Race back. I don't think we ever talked about that.
Dude, Wave Race to me is
that wasn't off the cup. That had to be a thing there.
Yeah. The Wave Race 64 is one of the best racing games ever made. It's absolutely sublime. Nintendo EAD at their finest. As much flack as Blue Storm gets, it's a stunning title. Yeah, the controls were a little bit janky sometimes.
A little wonky.
But, you know, by God, I still played the crap out of that game. And to think of what a Wave Race could look like now, especially if it came from Nintendo, I'd pimp my kids to have that on the Switch.
And let me read that HD water, HD.
Yeah, let me read his quote. You may see that game again. We have been trying to make many games, and that may be one of them. I personally love Wave Race. I mean, it was kind of a weird answer to the question, but
that's
confirmation. Really all over that. It has to be.
That's confirmation.
That pretty much. I mean, and Wave Race has been the game for the last since I've been doing podcasts, whether it's on this one or Active Game Life, whoever, anyone that ever asked, what surprise game would you love to see for E3 this year? And that's always Wave Race. That's my answer every time. So
yeah. If we get
they bling. If they bling, if they bring Wave Race and F-Zero to the Switch, I'm gonna have to start looking at that might be my new favorite console.
I would pass Mud if I was watching that live. And they announced F-Zero Wave Race. I'd get. Oh my God! I'd pass out.
It would just be.
It'd be too much.
If I was recording myself, you guys would see just ear to ear grin, and I probably wouldn't even be able to talk. I'd be smiling so much.
Oh my God!
And it would look ridiculous doing it, but
crazy.
Grimpachi, do you think Nintendo should have better digital game sales to compete with Sony and Microsoft? I think they need to get a little bit more lenient with sales. Just do it for a weekend. You don't have to put the game permanently on sale. Yeah. But the eShop indie games have had lots of sales. Third-party games have had sales. Actually, ARMS, I think, went on sale in the eShop for a little bit.
I don't know. I feel we might be going back to Yamauchi style, Nintendo business-wise, as far as them squeezing them profits out. You gotta. Iwata he was a designer. He was a gamer. He was a different type of dude. When they lost money on 3DS and they cut everything, he took pay cuts. Everybody took pay cuts. I don't know if this new guy would be down for that. So I think that's just a product of who he was as a CEO. This new Nintendo right now, they bought their paper, man. They bought their paper right now. So I don't know if we'll get those types of deals. Maybe, hopefully, we'll see.
Wait! It mentions the Nintendo Switch Online app now.
Yeah, the online app is still listed as a thing.
Yeah. They updated the American page. They do say something interesting in the frequently asked questions. One of the questions is, which games require Nintendo Online membership to access online play? And the games that they specifically mentioned are Splatoon 2, ARMS, Mario Kart Deluxe, Mario Tennis Aces, and Sushi Striker. But those are the current games that they mentioned that those will require.
But it says other games will vary, so maybe third-party games you don't have to have the paid service.
That's weird.
That would be
it?
very strange, to be honest.
Because down below,
fair, that's probably a better way of doing it than making me have to pay for it.
well,
I guess, but then it's gonna make
Perhaps
it even weirder to be like, yeah, you gotta pay for ours though. You know what I
down
mean?
below though it shows online gameplay listed under the paid service.
Yeah, I saw it too. Yeah.
And it says free until September. So online gameplay period to me is going to go the way of the dodo for free. I was hoping that just basic online gameplay would stay and just the features.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no mention of messaging. It's just Switch. The app's still there. NES games and cloud. And some special offers. That's the update.
So the only two things that are really worth noting is that we have our cloud saves, and the NES Switch Online. We have like 20 games from that.
So this is a rumor that came true then, because today's the 7th, and there was rumor
I heard
that
Obi-Wan talk about
that there would be more information for the online stuff, and that's true.
No, it wasn't a rumor. Nintendo themselves said on their website. Well, no, actually, no, they did actually.
No, they said early.
They did
They
say
said
a
in the
date.
meeting that it was going to be early May, but they didn't say the
Yeah,
day.
you're right.
The day was the rumor.
But so
somebody talking. You have Nintendo get your house in order. Somebody talking out there.
I guess the only good and then the cloud saves, you can do a family membership for like $35 in the US, which most of us, well, actually for T that might be pretty sweet. It depends.
What is it again?
Like you can do a family membership for
Just
your
for the online.
Shit, I got 3 Switches in here. I'm gonna have to do that.
Well, it's up to 8. It's up to 8.
Way cheaper if you
Yeah,
do that.
up to 8 accounts. So it's pretty good.
I'm gonna have to do that as well.
I'm just to be fair, this is pretty good. Other than the obvious app situation.
Yeah, the fact that they still going with that, and it's
I'm
still
pretty
only
happy
says,
about everything else. It's the fucking app that I'm
it's
not.
still saying Splatoon 2. You know, that's the only game it says.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Is is that just gonna be the only test trial game? And they haven't updated that app literally since the last one that allowed you to be able to do other things and still be connected to the voice chat. That was like the last update they did to it.
Yeah.
In that list as well, in those lists of games, those online games in the FAQ. I mean, they don't mention Smash Brothers.
No.
Because that's weird.
What else is missing? Obviously, they're only going to list their first-party games that use online.
Well, even if you think about first-party games, I feel like we're missing something, aren't we?
Pokken Tournament's not on here.
Yeah, Pokken Tournament's not on there. What else? That's not first party.
No, it's.
This is why you wait until you got all your ducks in order and shit in a row, or whatever they call
It's
it.
just
It's a weird rollout. Like,
yeah, and then we still don't even know about the whole special offers thing they're talking about too.
Yeah,
because they're like, we'll be special deals for members.
They updated this, and I think there's going to be a video feature, a couple minutes long or something. But
you think that'll come out like tonight?
A ton of information. I feel like there's a ton of information surrounding this whole online thing. Is that they feel like they have to do it this way. So,
and the fact that the online app, you click on it, and it doesn't even, other than Splatoon 2's online lounge, it doesn't say anything about the functionality of the app.
Yeah, they didn't update the app.
It basically just says enhance your online experience with compatible games. So with compatible games, they're going to use the app. I'm not. Like, this doesn't make me think, oh my God, the app's still 100% they're focused, because it says compatible games. So there are going to be probably plenty of games that aren't compatible with the app. I think that.
Because there are cool things about the app. Like,
yeah. I think the
app isn't really the problem. The problem is that it seems to be the only way right now.
But they updated this, so now the app doesn't say voice chat. It's not listed under the app, other than Splatoon 2.
They do say. Sorry, just to cut you in. They do say on the list of the NES games, when they talk about multiplayer, it says with online play added to every classic game, you can complete compete online with friends, share your screen, blah blah blah. With the Nintendo Switch Online smartphone app, you can also voice chat during your play sessions. So it does say that.
So they're
that's
including
gonna
the
be
NES games then.
So that's going to be still the voice. See, that doesn't say that in the actual app feature.
So in terms of the virtual console,
Well, maybe that's just for those games. Maybe they don't want to.
I still don't. The problem is it's still like disjointed where I gotta specifically click on a game. Like it shouldn't be
all
that
this
way.
together.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to. We shouldn't have to both go into balloon fight and go into the lounge on the like. That would be a disaster. Now, if it's just like
Yeah, that's the
open
problem.
the app,
Balloon fight.
send you guys all like message or phone ring, like calls, and you answer it. Hey, what's going on? And like, what do we want to play? Like if it's that, like a Discord, basically, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But if it's all right, you got to boot up the game. You got to go.
Why not just make a damn deal with Discord and get the shit over with?
Yeah, Discord already offered a while ago.
Yeah,
Because I mean, basically, if it does what I just said, it then it is like a competing with Discord. If it's you have to go into the online lounge of that game, it's gonna be separated. Then that's fucked. Then that's done, and no one's gonna be happy with that.
No one's gonna be happy. And the problem is you're gonna still have to pay for it to get the other stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, just playing, like they're starting with 20 NES games. If that expands, I don't know if there will be another 20 the next month, and you can choose to buy. Like I wouldn't mind doing a couple, like Super Mario Brothers 3. I haven't played through that game in a long time. Once that becomes available, on top of just the online play and having to pay to play online, I'd be happy with some retro games I can play for $20 a year. I don't need everything, but if the voice chat's what I just said, where you have to go into the lounge of each individual game and you can't just create a party chat, then it's a fail.
Well, I guess here's the question. As of right now, for what we know, would you say this is worth the $20?
Well, I'll just say this. What I said last week is exactly what we got. One or two little things that are not going to explain anything of what it's actually going to be. This is what I said. This is exactly what I expected this information to be. And no, this is not worth paying $20 for me.
Well, the fact that
see, that's hard. I don't know.
We don't. I mean, it's their fault because they haven't given us the full details. And
they keep doing this spoon feeding.
Yeah, the way they're wheeling this out. But the fact is, they were going to charge for online no matter what.
Yeah, that's something we're just going to deal with.
So,
but I guess here's the trade-off. Since we're paying, like, not 3 times as less. What I was going to say, a third less than what Sony and Microsoft players are paying for similar features.
Similar at this point? I don't know, bro.
Oh, I don't know. I guess not similar.
I think we're stretching a bit there.
Don't you got a PlayStation 4? You sure about that?
Hey, listen, I don't pay for online on PlayStation 4.
I pay on Xbox, but not PlayStation.
Thinking about positively about the future of this. Now, I gotta sit here. I gotta say I'm not excited about NES games anymore.
No, I'm not either.
I don't give a shit.
But once they start rolling up with the SNES. And if we can get third parties on board once they start rolling up with the SNES, which I believe they mentioned already, and if then they start expanding on it, N64, then and they got these co-op and multiplayer stuff. I mean, can you imagine the original Mario Party on the N64 just on online?
I don't have NES nostalgia. We played it. We were kids. That's what we had, and so we played NES. It wasn't like, oh my god, NES was the greatest console of all time.
But it would be cool to be able to play like Tecmo Bowl, like if a third party, like to be able to play online because I'm really good at Tecmo Bowl.
When was the last time you played that shit?
Last time I was on the virtual console on my Wii U. Like that is one of my favorite NES games of all time. I feel like I could compete with just about anybody playing that game. You feel like that with a lot of games, but I'm just figured that game out to a level that most people have it. Like I'm just so good at that game. I'd love to test my skills, but I don't expect Tecmo Bowl to ever be one of those games. But that would actually get me excited.
Is Tecmo even around?
I know the Wii U got it on the virtual console, so. But if those 20 NES games are the starting point and it becomes a very broad, very full service, you pay that $20 a year and you have access to like clock that said, now we're getting Super NES games. Now we're getting N64 games. Like if that expands, that alone to me could be potentially be worth the $20 a year. But the big thing that this update on this website is missing is, can I message friends? Like I've been saying this since
that's the other
on the
problem.
Wii U. I had a friend she was from Germany, and we through the Miiverse, some post of mine, she didn't know me from YouTube or anything, and we message each other about once a week, just talking about video games, nothing more or less than that. And she finally got a Switch a couple months ago and added me from the Wii U, because you can do that. And I have no way to communicate with her. I can see her playlist. I know she played Breath of the Wild on the Wii U. I can see she's playing a lot of Splatoon, and I forget what the other game she's playing.
Oh no! So you can't even.
If I have no way to message her, like anytime soon, come on, and like it's already way past due. But
that's
insane. Well, I guess the good news would be, since it's not included with the app, that means that might just be a system thing.
It better be a system thing.
Well, I mean, great. It should be regardless.
Right.
It should be both. I'd rather type it.
I'm just saying it better at least be a system thing first.
Well, I'm just happy it's not included with the app, because the app is already a pain enough with the voice chat. But if at least my messaging is on the system, I could kind of take the hit on the voice chat as long as I can message people on the Switch.
And I want to be able to send, like I said, screenshots. I know there's people here who haven't beat Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I might have wanted to send a screenshot out, but I don't want to spoil it for somebody.
Yeah,
so if I could send it to Terrell, like check this out, like that would be cool.
The one thing, real quick, I want to mention, because remember I mentioned we saw the family account thing that you mentioned earlier. Apparently, that's coming next week. Like next week, you can create a family account, which is I'm assuming is how you would do like the family. So. And I don't know if that's going to be like a system update or what, but that does imply that they're still doing things.
I can't even mess my damn family. I can't mess with my own damn family.
No, family account I think is just more set up for like.
Well, I'm just saying, like we get to a point where we have this family account on Switch and we're paying, and I'm not even able to message my own damn family. I'm paying,
that's going. I got you.
That's insane.
Also, like how when they're under the Q&A, they're like, "How do I set up and use the save data cloud backup?" More details will be revealed soon.
Well, I even list that under
Why
the more
you
questions.
put it out?
One thing I want to say as well,
We can be in the same house with a family account. Maybe we can all get on that shit.
One thing I want to say, just to go back to the NES games, sorry, is that they mentioned 20 NES games right at launch, yeah.
Yeah.
And can anyone name 20 Nintendo owned NES games
without Balloon Fight?
Without Balloon Fight, they already have the Mario Brothers, Zelda. Actually, I don't know how you would do some of these.
It says there'll be more to be revealed, which makes me feel like.
Well, they only announced 10.
We're going to be getting third parties.
Your Zeldas, your Metroids, your Mario.
They have Zelda.
It's 20 at launch, so you can name your 20 NES games from Nintendo themselves at launch, and then
what?
Then what? Exactly.
Yeah.
So I feel like third party is going to be coming as well. We need to wait more on this.
An interesting thing is you can kind of see some of the UI change on that NES game.
See what they look like, aren't they?
Yeah, you can see like they got like the wireless bar connection, a question mark block, and then your Nintendo account ID at the top. Also, the one thing that I find interesting is that they say under you can play classic games, you can compete online and share your screen. What would that be in the context of the game when they said
share your screen? Can someone?
I think they just mean just looking at the same Switch screen. So when you look at if you look at the pictures, it's just them just looking at the same Switch screen.
Like people can spectate from.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I thought, because I was
almost like Twitch. Remember that Rocket League has that link to Twitch account under the options.
Although I heard that was more for they do their own thing. I forget what it is though.
But getting a little long in the tooth on this podcast.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Yeah, okay.
As the host with a functional mic, it's time.
Thank God.
Rein in and wrap it up.
Can I put a condom on it?
So That's always fun.
Yeah, 10 out of 10. Best one.
So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this bad boy up. Thank you everybody for joining us and giving us questions in the chat. So let's go ahead and do our outros, starting with Clocked It.
Oh, you some on the beach.
Hey, you started. You gotta finish.
Yeah, Joy, I enjoyed this podcast. We find out some topics that we all got chatting on. A bit of E3 hype, a bit of retro hype, and then we got this Nintendo Switch news towards the end, which I still find exciting. Like we know there's more news coming, so this will all trickle out, and I feel like come next week we're going to be in our usual frenzy about everything that we've learned. But yeah, I got nothing else to add for today, so I'll leave it there for now. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining in the chat. The chat's been really busy, I feel, today. Been quite a few people in there, so it's good. But yeah, that's me. I'm done. Boom.
Cool. All right, let me go ahead and wake up Retro Death. Retro, get your outro.
I was gonna say, yeah, pretty good podcast. I want to applaud T for hosting it. At least when his mic was working. And
Not the world.
And like one of the last games I played last week is a game I was looking forward to a lot. I wanted to talk about that a bit, and that's A Way Out, the co-op Prison Break game. I finally started playing that with my brother, and man, if you have somebody you can play games with physically there with you, I so highly recommend this game. It is so much fun breaking out of prison with somebody sitting on the couch with you, blaming people for when they're fucking shit up and everything, and
and yelling at them.
It really is like such a perfect co-op game. You can really tell how it's built for co-op. You can play it online if you have a mic and everything, but it's seriously not the same. The same when you're not sitting with somebody next to you. When you're like, for example, like you're both in prison cells next to each other, and then you have to like hand a screwdriver or something to somebody, and you both have to like activate a button to make sure that you pass the item properly and everything. And it's just so much fun when you actually, it's not like you're always just, somebody has a boost, you lift somebody up, you have to pass an item. Like there's specific moments where you're playing the game together at the same time, but you're both, for example, at a completely different location, talking with different people, and it's a great experience, the game. I highly recommend, if you have the chance, to pick up A Way Out. It's definitely worth the money.
And you kind of have the same accent as the creator, I believe. Remember when he was
adult themes in the game, right? It's very it's an M-rated game.
It's just that the game you instantly start with this co-op experience where you see both characters and they both have like a sheet of who they are, and you see like what crimes they committed, for example, and how many the prison sentences they got. And right from the bat, you're like fighting over who wants to be what character and shit. While like one of the characters that is like in for fraud and embezzlement. I'm telling my brother, yeah, you're that shit. You like do embezzlement and fraud kind of shit. It's just seriously, you gotta pick that up if you have somebody to play that with.
Cool.
Awesome. All right, next up. Okay, cool. Next up, Robert, are you awake?
Yeah.
I heard a couple laughs out of you.
Playing God of War, he wasn't paying attention.
No, I actually would really, really love to play A Way Out, but like you said, it's a big co-op thing, but man, that's one game that I saw. I was like, I would love to play, but I feel like you really do have to have someone right next to you. I think that'd be pretty damn awesome to do that. But there's other games to play. Like I'm gonna continue going through God of War. It's still really good, but I want to play that South Park game, and I am really excited for Runner 3. I know I keep saying that, but because I love Runner 2. Runner 2 is so fucking good, and go watch Avengers, and because Juice isn't the host, I can say
boom, bitch.
I can say a bit about Avengers. Watch it; it's fantastic. And
you can find better out there.
Okay, we're not going to get into that now.
And have a good night, sleep tight, and I can't think of anything. Just
you're bombing right now. You're bombing.
I know. Well,
I'm disappointed in you, Robert.
Next.
All right, well, what are you gonna do?
All right, Terrell.
It's a good podcast. Hey guys, guess what? I like video games. Just in case y'all didn't know, it's a secret. Don't tell nobody.
You like streaming video games? That's for
Hey man, I like it.
Streaming a lot lately.
I'm trying to give the people what they like. All right.
Nice. Good job, Terrell.
All right. Hey, listen, I don't
appreciate
need you
that.
patronizing me, Robert.
I'm saying good job. I just said good job.
I don't trust you. You sound disingenuous. I'm just playing. Anywho, we got some games coming out. I know for people, depending on what you like, and if you're not about Port City, then I know you ain't got a lot to look forward to. But hey, we got Street Fighter later this month. If you didn't like Fire Emblem, you got your Hyrule Warriors, Battle Chasers, all the fun stuff. Shantae comes out tomorrow. No, I will not be buying it, so I don't want to hear anything. And for you One Piece fans, that comes out on Thursday. I guess now all we have to do is hear people scream and shout for the next few days about the Nintendo Online announcement, and all the fire will come down, and then it'll be okay because it's a Nintendo Switch and everything's perfect on the Switch. Anywho, that's the game. Let it win. Now we'll see you guys later.
Gravy, and now our former host, Terminator Juice.
That old man in the back.
Good podcast. No, it was actually fun just to kind of just relax and listen to you guys, talk and have tea, come up with topics, good stuff. Chat very active, and I'm just gonna say big shout out to T. We played some Rocket League. We squatted up with Terrell and Lucy Girl or Lightning 49, whatever she goes by. We squatted up for the Splatfest. Team Leo, we lost, but we had a good time till we went into a rough stretch there where we were just getting destroyed. But it is fun. It definitely is more fun, the Splatfest, when you've teamed up. The last few I played alone, so that was fun. And then T and I played a little Rocket League until the wee hours of the morning. And then yesterday, Lil Cray, got to give him a shout out. We played doubles for about 3 hours, I think, and it was pretty fun. So appreciate those guys for making my weekend a good gaming weekend. And then last thing I'm gonna say, I'm gonna stand by my word. When Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition launches on the 20, what day is that?
Like the 25th, I think.
Something. That's when I'm going to Best Buy and picking up Fire Emblem Warriors. I said that when they announced it. I'm gonna buy the lesser old game of those two, and I'm ready for a Switch game, and maybe I'll pick up Street Fighter 2, but or as well, I should say. But I'm gonna support the newer game made for the Switch, and screw that Wii U port nonsense. So I'll be playing Fire Emblem Warriors in a couple weeks. So I'm actually a little bit excited because I haven't watched much of that game and haven't played a game like that since Hyrule Warriors. So that's what I'm doing. And thanks to T for hosting. Good job. Fun podcast. So that's all I got.
Cool. And I'll make it quick. It was fun to host again. I haven't done it since I was doing my own podcast. So it's pretty cool to get that in again. And I just want to say, fuck you, Capcom. I want to buy Street Fighter, but I'm so pissed off at what you did with Mega Man. I don't even want to buy that shit. So that's on y'all. I'm at to wait on that.
Get it?
Or price drops. I don't want to buy it full price.
Come on, bro.
Capcom just pissed me off too much.
Come on, bro.
At least
I own all those games already anyway, but obviously there's online play, and it's nice to have it all on one cart and on my new system. So that's great, but it's just we'll see. We'll see what happens. I might switch on that.
You might pull a Terminator Juice.
I might flip around. I might flip on it. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'm not much. I mentioned what I was looking forward to, so definitely looking forward to Runner 3. Really enjoyed Runner 2. Didn't really play too much of the other ones, but I have one of them on Wii. I don't know which one it is, but maybe Bit Trip Runner or something like that. Yeah, that's the one. But yeah, so great podcast. Thanks everybody. The chat, you guys were awesome. So looking forward to what's coming, and see you guys next time.